Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Hope everybody's doing well. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Yes, Brother Yusuf, I'll add you on in a short while. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for today's show. It's going to be a very interesting topic, and we've been covering this for nearly a year and a half now since the conflict or the genocide, as we started initially calling it out from day one. And now there's no doubt, without anybody's, you've got to be totally blind and biased to not understand that there is a genocide taking place right now against the people of Palestine. And joining me today, of course, is my brother, the co-host of Cover FF, and also Yusuf has his own channel called the South African Debate Initiative. So please, by helping the people of Palestine and the situation in Gaza, you could subscribe to my channel, Cover FF, and of course, the South African Debate Initiative run by Yusuf Ismail. Subscribe to the channels. Please do that. That'll be helping and pushing back against the enemies of the Palestinian people. But welcome, Brother Yusuf. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And it's again good and fantastic to be back with my dear brother Muhammad, my main host, at least from the Coventry Faith Foundation, in partnership with the South African Debate Initiative. We have been doing these programs for about close to now more than a year since the genocide began in 2023 when we first partnered. And can you believe it? We are in the first week of 2025. We are in 2025, brothers and sisters, and friends out there, and indeed enemies. And certainly the genocide has not stopped. What we have shown and what we've proved beyond any reasonable doubt is that there is a genocide that's taking place. So there were some documents that we are going to go through, and then, of course, we're going to open up the stream. But before that, we just want to basically show you some of the aspects that are happening and some of the concerns that we basically have. This is a screen share that I would like to have. This is right now. This is just about an hour ago. If you can see the screen now, about an hour ago, exactly an hour ago, a Palestinian family of 11, including 7 children, were murdered and were amongst the 28 Palestinians murdered as Israeli military intensified attacks on the war-battered Gaza Strip. Again, and this is entering basically its third day from, we're talking about since the new year. And of course, we've seen the detention and the now disappearance of Kamal Adwan Hospital's director, Dr. Hossam Abu Safia, this well-known individual, emblematic of the genocidal intent in Israel's broader attempts to annihilate Gaza's health sector. So this is something which is of extreme concern. This is a clip that we've got here. We hope we don't get, it's just a 2-minute clip.
During an emergency UN Security Council meeting, the World Health Organization urged Israel to rescind its evacuation demands of Al Adwa Hospital and Indonesian Hospital.
Al Adwa, which is the last remaining minimal functional hospital in North Gaza, is struggling to stay open.
Last remaining minimal functioning hospital in Gaza.
Food and water and fuel are depleting fast. The hospital has been without many essential medicines for more than 85 days.
The WHO has documented 654 attacks on healthcare facilities in Gaza since October 2000.
So 654, and these are deliberate targeted attacks, 654 attacks on healthcare facilities since when? When did he say? What are we talking about? Let's just get this, 654
on healthcare facilities in Gaza since October 2023.
The WHO has warned of a pattern of systematic dismantling of the healthcare system in North Gaza. This pattern must be reversed.
While briefing the council, Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, directly responded to the claims by Israel and the United States that hospitals in Gaza are used by Hamas.
Israel has not provided sufficient information to substantiate many of these claims, which are often vague and broad. In some cases, they appear to be contradicted by publicly available information.
So there's no evidence that any of these claims have been backed up or genuine at all. No evidence has been provided, and not surprisingly, nothing has happened in relation to this. So we've seen a number of people being killed, being murdered over the past several weeks, at least recently. There was this infamous now story of a baby being frozen to death. I'm sure, Mohammed, you would have seen that well-known story that has basically impacted and been made some sort of global news. One thing which I will basically share with you, with the brothers out there and the people, is before I break for Salatul Maghrib, looking at the time that I'm here, is a particular report by this famous medic that has been in Gaza since the 7th of October. And her name basically is Dr. Tanya Haj Hassan. And she conveyed a message to the United Nations Security Council. I think this was just a couple of days back. This is captured by Dawn News English, but she was addressing the United Nations Security Council, and she highlighted the unchecked violence and Gaza medics' plea for justice, which hasn't been basically allowed or in fact seen in any relation. So let me share this, and then when I share this, I'm going to break for Salah, and then when we come back, we're going to essentially unpack two major documents that I have before me, two major documents, and then we're going to share the live stream because there's a lot of people that want to come on, and then we're going to tackle some of these Zionists out there that generally come onto this particular platform, and we'll essentially deal with them. So this is the report. I hope this is on the screen. I'm just going to expand it to the full screen, and let me just play it whilst I then subsequently break for Salatul Maghrib. Here we are.
Dear Excellencies and dear Chair, while I'm thankful for the opportunity to speak to you today, I recognize that what has been shared before me and has been said over and over again in this very chamber by so many other advocates, humanitarians, and authorities who have come before you in the last 454 days is already so damning and both morally and legally sufficient to merit a response. In the words of my friend and female Gazan surgeon, Dr. Sara As-Saqqa, who I spoke to this morning, she says, "I don't know what one can say or write honestly. Last time I was asked this question, I felt like screaming in the face of the whole world and telling them, what are you waiting for? You've seen it and you've heard it all." I will attempt in the next few minutes I have with you today not to describe the systematic and intentional attacks on healthcare in Gaza, because that would take far more time than the amount of time I have with you and has also been summarized by those who spoke before me and extensively documented by bodies of the United Nations itself. Instead, I would like to share with you the perspectives of healthcare workers in Gaza who've been sending SOS messages to this council for over a year, and who, if still alive today, are at the front lines, setting an example for all of us of what it means to practice what you preach.
Hello, I am Yusuf from God. It looks like that you are getting you our situation, but we are there.
I've had the privilege of teaching in Gaza's medical schools and hospitals and getting to know these healthcare workers over many years. Despite being under siege, they were astoundingly able to build an extensive healthcare system, provide high quality medical care to patients, and nurture excellent medical education for the growing generation of doctors. They are proud, hardworking professionals who take their oath to care for their patients very seriously. Dr. Hammam al-Lawh, when asked why he hadn't left the hospitals when they were besieged, responded, "Who would care for my patients? You think I went to medical school and for my postgraduate degrees for a total of 14 years, so I think about my life and not my patients?" Dr. al-Lawh was killed by an Israeli airstrike on November 12th, 2023, at the age of 36 years. Since October of last year, healthcare workers have become a clear target of Israel's military violence. Our colleagues and friends have been killed, maimed, unlawfully detained, and tortured. Over 1,000 healthcare workers have been killed in Gaza in the past 15 months. Hundreds of healthcare workers have been held in Israeli captivity. At least 4 have been killed while in detention. They tell us that they are targets because they're healthcare workers, that wearing scrubs and white coats is like wearing a target on their backs. Why, I asked, and you may be asking. It's because hospitals and healthcare workers represent life and a will to keep people alive. In May of last year, after Dr. Adnan al-Bursh, chief of orthopedics at Al-Shifa Hospital, was killed in Israeli detention after months of torture, a surgeon who knew him well sent us this message. Practicing medicine has become a crime, he said, and the penalty for saving people's lives has become detention and being tortured to death. I messaged colleagues in Gaza last night to ask what they would like me to say to the chamber today. Here are some of their messages. The savagery continues to get worse. The crimes are beyond brutal, and the world continues to watch. No one is stopping Israel. They do whatever they want without any consequences. There's no such thing as international law, or the law only applies to certain parts of the world and not to us. Double standards, as they say. After 15 months of brutality, it's now clear that our blood is cheap and we're just numbers to the world. End quote. Dr. Khamis al-Assi, a Palestinian pain and rehabilitation doctor in Gaza and a dear friend and fellow Oxford graduate, wrote to me this morning saying, "Yesterday I was working in the emergency department when I was shocked to find my nephews brought in. One was martyred and the other was severely injured. We are devastated. This is my message, stop the war. Enough is enough." End quote. My colleague, Dr. Sara Sakka, who I quoted earlier, and incidentally, who herself works for the UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Gaza, said, "I never thought that international law or human rights institutions would allow this. For 2 million people to be locked in a cage and systematically massacred. Imagine being sick or injured and knowing that the cure is available, but not being able to access it because the crossings are closed. There is no greater injustice." The final set of messages I want to share come from Dr. Hussam Abu Safiyyeh, who my colleague from the WHO just spoke about, the medical director of Kamal Adwan Hospital and a pediatrician like myself. On November 3rd, he wrote, "We urgently need increased pressure on the international community to help the healthcare system perform its duties in accordance with established humanitarian laws. We're not asking for anything beyond this. We are here to provide a humanitarian service to our people, the injured, and those in need of assistance, and we wish to continue doing our job." He then, on December 3rd, after repeated SOS calls in between, said, "Today, for the 5th time, Kamal Adwan Hospital has been targeted in a horrifying, relentless manner. Drones are dropping bombs filled with shrapnel that injure anyone who dares to move. Once again, the occupation is focusing its aggression on medical teams. We are exhausted by the ongoing violence. Why are we subjected to such brutality? Each day, the hospital is systematically targeted." End quote. And what happened next after that? After the Israeli military raided the hospital, people were blindfolded and undressed. Patients on crutches were put on the ground as Israeli soldiers took celebratory pictures with the surviving healthcare workers in humiliating positions. The hospital was burned down, and Dr. Abu Safiyyeh was taken, we believe, along with many colleagues. I speak to you today, like so many healthcare workers and citizens around the world, filled with grief, with anger, with frustration, and frankly, with disbelief. Disbelief that all of our repeated firsthand and utterly damning testimonies have still not moved the world to meaningful action. Disbelief that the countless addresses to the media and even here at the United Nations just 5 weeks ago, we're still here trying to convince anyone who will listen that this needs to stop. Disbelief that all previous propositions to end violence have been obstructed by the very body whose primary responsibility is supposedly to maintain international peace and security. In disbelief that on November 20th, the United States and my country of citizenship again vetoed a UN security draft resolution that demanded an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in Gaza, despite 14 votes in favor. In disbelief that it has been one entire year this month since the International Court of Justice issued provisional measures after ruling that Israel's acts could amount to plausible genocide. And that since Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, amongst other organizations, have concluded that Israel's actions are consistent with genocide. In disbelief that we are still here after we have driven 96% of Gaza's children to believe their death is imminent, while many wish for their own death. And after 7 infants, as of yesterday, have died from hypothermia in the past week, meaning they literally froze to their death. In disbelief that we are still here when Israel's military violence has created the largest cohort of pediatric amputees in known history, largest cohort of journalists killed, the largest cohort of UN workers killed. And I shudder to even estimate the number of children who've lost their parents and have been orphaned for life. In disbelief that Israel has killed another 90 Palestinians in Gaza, at least, in the short time since I got the call last night requesting that I address you here today. We are pleading to the world, to the people and the states that make up this very body, to show us that international humanitarian law matters, that human rights are universally applied, and to stay true to the very reason that this body was created. Thank you.
So that's Dr. Tanya Hajj, and sorry for that phone call. That phone call was by someone from the UK. Imagine I'm getting a call in South Africa from someone in the United Kingdom that wants to join the stream. We're going to share the stream shortly. For those of you who want to come, friends info, we're going to share it shortly with you and explain how you justify such sort of behavior and conduct. But before I go into that, I think I need to share this. We alluded to this some time back. Before me, and I won't have time to go through 2 documents. There's 2 documents. One document I have to still bind it. This is the document report by Amnesty International. It's probably about a 300-page document, something like 200 to 300 pages, called "You Feel Like You Are Subhuman: Israel's Genocide Against the Palestinians in Gaza." I think I've sent it to you, Brother Mohammed. I don't know if you've got it, but it's possible that I have. I'm going to probably open it up in PDF. And there's a more slightly shorter document, which is this here, done by Francesca Albanese. This is the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied territories in Palestine since 1967. She compiled this report in October, by the way, of this year. And this report, if you look at it, it's quite a good, lengthy, academically written document, fantastic document. The report is basically based on legal research and analysis, interviews with victims and witnesses, including in Jordan and Egypt, and of course, open source information and inputs from experts in civil society organizations. And so the rapporteur was refused access, Francesca Albanese, to the occupied territory, even though there was no basis for refusal. And that's the only point. I don't know if that's what you put. We are probably one of the only Dawa channels talking about what's happening in Gaza. I don't see anyone else doing this. I don't see any of the reports. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe in the United Kingdom they probably are. I don't know. I can't guarantee that. But here is the report. I'm going to try and expand this, and I'm going to see if I can share this. And I want anyone to come out, because this is what we're asking you. Come and challenge us. As you can see in the phrase below, Israel is committing genocide beyond any doubt. And there are a number of people that have come on in the past, Brother Mohammed. Some have been abusive to us. I can't seem to share the PDF. For some bizarre reason, I can't seem to share the PDF. I'm going to try and see if I can access my Gmail account and then try and essentially share it from there. Let me see if I can access it. Let me see if I can access that. Just give me 1 minute. Where
No
are we?
problem. Not a problem,
Uh,
Yusuf. Can I just remind the people here in Coventry, I've started a petition, an e-petition that you can go online. Actually linked it. It's actually linked on my YouTube channel. If anybody lives, works, or studies here in Coventry, you can go to this particular link, and it's actually for getting the Palestinian flag permanently flying on the council house here in Coventry. So if anybody lives in the surrounding area of Coventry here in the UK, please fill in this petition. It takes literally a minute or so to fill in. It's an online form, and you can do it. If anybody who actually doesn't live in the UK or lives outside Coventry, there are still means and ways for you to still fill in this form. I'm hoping to get enough people on this petition so we can get the Palestinian flag permanently flying here in Coventry on the council building. So that'll be much appreciated. I've got it there backstage. So you want to put it onto the stage, Brother Yusuf?
Yeah, no, we can share it, put it on our stage. This is a report here. Here we are. Can you see it now? Is it on your screen, Mohammed?
Perfect.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
directly from my Gmail account. Somehow when I download it as a PDF, I can't seem to view it. But this is basically the report. I'm going to expand it, maybe make it slightly bigger. Is that clear enough? As you can see, this is the report by the UN, presented to the UN General Assembly by Francesca Albanese. And as you can see here, as it goes down, in the present report, she goes to discuss the situation of human rights in the Palestinian-occupied territories in 1967. More importantly, as you can see, the particular report here, this is a situation. The present report is based on legal research and analysis. She was not obviously allowed into the occupied Palestinian territories. They refused her access. So she was limited to getting the information directly from the individuals that were there on the ground and the people that had received the documentation pertaining to what we have. So this is a situation. And of course, here's the legal frameworks and the development that we've got. In the present report, you've got the rapporteur relies on the legal framework considered in previous reports, including international humanitarian law, human rights law, international criminal law, and customary international law, and in particular, the Genocide Convention and the International Convention on the Suppression and Punishment of the crime of apartheid. So here's what it goes, and I want to basically move on to the key issues in this particular report. And she discusses, for example, she discusses South Africa's case at the ICJ. And then basically, this is where it starts. She starts up with some form of facts. So at the outset in paragraph 9, she states that this is one of the fastest mass displacements in history. And at the time that this is reported, obviously at that stage, and now, of course, it is happening, there was a warning of the deliberate risk of mass ethnic cleansing. At least 90% of Palestinians, and this was back in October, have now been forcibly displaced, many more than 10 times, meaning you are displaced 10 times. You go to one location, you're displaced. Another location, displaced. Another location, displaced. Insane. And then the violence has spread to the occupied West Bank. And what the important thing is, she mentions, high-ranking Israeli officials, ministers and religious leaders continue to encourage erasure and dispossession of Palestinians, setting new thresholds for acceptable violence against the civilians. Brother Mohammed, whilst you're there, you can probably, we won't bring them in, but you can share the StreamYard link in the box for those who are interested. I know we have our usual customers like Anam and Mike and all these other guys, but you can share the StreamYard link, and I'm going to share it with this gentleman that's been phoning me from the United Kingdom, as well as there's a chap called Sarfaraz as well. They've been urgently wanting to come on, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They stated they are willing to show their faces, so let them show their faces, and we capture their faces if anything goes pear-shaped in the conversation. She goes on to discuss the killings that have taken place. And here's an important thing. At least 13,000 children, including more than 700 babies, have been killed, many shot in the head and chest. Is that self-defense? Is that collateral damage? Why would you shoot babies and children in the head and the chest? Hamas never did any of this. Hezbollah never did. Show me one example where Hezbollah shot any children in the head or chest. Show me one example where Hamas has shot any child in the head or chest on October 7th. Show me one. Give me one example. Yes, certainly children under 18 would have died, but show me one where they're killing children in cold blood, as you've seen here and as doctors have reported, in the head directly. By May, this is of May this year, and now the figures obviously more. She gives figures that 10,000 people were estimated to be buried alive under the rubble, including 4,000 children. The voices of those trapped and dying are often audible. So in other words, they are crying in the rubble, and people can't even remove the rubble. You can imagine such a situation knowing you are going to die. The magnitude of the destruction has also prompted allegations of domicide. There can't be allegations. When you destroy infrastructure, as we've shown, it's totally destroyed. Scholasticide, meaning destroying all forms of education. Medicide, destroying all forms of medication and healthcare infrastructure. Cultural genocide, destroying the cultural background of the Palestinian people. Ecocide, destroying the environment. Where's all the environmentalists out there and people like Al Gore and so on that are talking about the destruction of the environment? Who talks about this? So now it's necessary. Nearly 40 million tons of debris, including unexploded ordnance. And look what she says, human remains contaminate the ecosystem. So imagine the dead bodies with the maggots and dogs eating them up. More than 140 temporary waste sites and 340,000 tons of waste. 340,000 tons of waste. Can you contemplate that figure? Untreated wastewater, sewage overflow contribute to the spread of diseases such as hepatitis A, respiratory infection, diarrhea, and skin disease. And as Israeli leaders have promised, because this is what they said from day one, Gaza has been made unfit for human life. Continued bombardment of evacuees in purportedly designated safe zones. So in other words, you send them to safe zones like the Al-Mawasi safe zone, which is bombed. You send them south, you bomb them. You send them to a school, you bomb them. You send them to UN Relief and Workers Agency for Palestinian Refugee Schools, you bomb them. Your excuse for bombing them at UNRWA schools are that UNRWA now is working with Hamas. The reality is that all these schools have been totally destroyed. The Rafah offensive, and this I'm quoting directly. Why I'm quoting directly from her? Because this is an official document, legal document, that will inevitably be used as evidence in Saifka's case against the International Court of Justice, against Israel at the ICJ. The Rafah offensive in May alone caused 3,500 direct deaths and new displacement of approximately 1 million Palestinians to uninhabitable wastelands of rubble, sewage, and decomposing bodies. Because the places which you are designating as safe zones, how can they be safe for human habitation? And even though you're claiming they are safe from bombardment, you are still bombing them in these sewage safe zones, which are unfit for human habitation. So who are you lying to? And which bastard out there, if you are listening, can defend this as self-defense? Explain this to me. If you have the mental proclivity and the decency and the logic and the rationale and the Islamic ethos to defend this. According to satellite imagery and sources, I see I get a call again. It's again, my phone is buzzing. I will just basically send the StreamYard link. And for those who are interested, just have some patience. You will basically come on board. We will allow you to come on board, but have some decency, not to be too impatient. And then we'll see basically what your entire what is motivating you. What is motivating you to defend and justify this kind of genocide that is taking place? What is in fact what is motivating you? explain to us what is motivating you to defend this. So I've sent out the link, and Brother Muhammad will probably send out the StreamYard link as well. You can stay in the backstage, but we need to get to this important document. By August 2024, repeated evacuation orders over approximately 84% of Gaza had corralled the majority of the population into a shrinking, unsafe humanitarian zone covering 12.6% of territory, now reconfigured in preparation for, what does he say? For annexation. So they're already talking about annexing Gaza. In early September, 2 ministers of the government of Israel openly called for the conquest and again the annexation of the areas of Gaza. Israel has continued to use medical shielding arguments to target healthcare facilities. Again, this is a lie. So those out there who are coming and wanting to raise arguments about human shields, arguments about basically that Hamas is using this as a basis for human shields, that Hamas is using hospitals and centers and areas for human shields. Well, have a look at this. Have a look at this document here. Have a look at this. According to the World Health Organization, not necessarily the best organization, but for what it's worth, in 300 days, 32 of 36 hospitals were damaged. With, you see, again, look at this. This is one of your guys from the UK trying to call in. I've sent the StreamYard link. Wait and have patience. So just not to put me off, by the 20th of August, Israel had attacked healthcare facilities 492 times. From 18th March to the 1st of April, Israel had basically, okay, for those of you who are still wanting to come in, come on board, come in the backstage. Brother Muhammad will enter you in the backstage, and then, of course, you can engage. But we need to get to this document. On the 26th of August, following mass expulsion orders in Deir al-Balah, where 1 million Palestinians were sheltering, Israeli forces compelled the evacuation of all but 100 of 650 patients in Al-Aqsa Hospital. On 30th of August, Israeli forces bombed a humanitarian truck bound for the Emirati hospital. Why would you bomb a humanitarian truck, killing several aid workers? How many of us are going to justify this? Is this a form of self-defense? On 16th of July, the World Health Organization detected the first presence of polio virus in 25 years. Imagine that. A direct consequence of the destruction of water and sewage systems, obstruction of aid, and shelter overcrowding caused by Israel. By late August, a 10-month-old baby was partially paralyzed by the deceased. And despite that, Israel delayed vaccinations. It attacked vaccination areas. It attacked the United Nations vaccination convoy. And whilst the humanitarian organizations are calling for ceasefire, Israel issued the highest number of evacuation orders since October 2023. This is in August, targeting areas with the highest concentration of displaced Palestinians, forcing the United Nations to suspend humanitarian operations. Just like Dr. Tanya mentioned, this is the first conflict in human history where the highest number of journalists are killed, the highest number of aid workers are killed, the highest number of babies are killed, the highest number of medical staff are killed, the highest number of reporters are killed. Show me any other war like that. I mean, even the Rwandan genocide, you don't have any particular. And the reason why it's now becoming so evident is that social media has basically turned this all over. Systematic attacks on Gaza, food sovereignty, because now we've shown that Israel is in fact basically preventing food distribution. Following constant evacuation at the Rafah crossing, distribution of daily meals fell by 38% from July to August 2024. In August, entry permits for humanitarian organizations nearly halved. Access to water has been restricted to a quarter of pre-7th October. So pre-7th October levels, it was a refugee camp. Now it's even a quarter of that. Approximately 93% of the agricultural, forestry, and fishery economies have been destroyed. 95% of Palestinians face high levels of acute food insecurity and deprivation for decades to come. In August 2024, Smotrich, the psychopath, the finance minister of Israel, stated that the entire Gaza population starving the entire Gaza population was justified and moral, even if 2 million people died. This is official Israeli policy. In recent months, 83% of food aid was prevented from entering Gaza. Prevented by who? Not by Hamas, by Israel. And where the food was allowed to be entered, Israel was allowing gangs linked with ISIS to take control of those food product, the food aid, and sell it on the black market under the auspice of the Israeli Defense Force, not Hamas. Hamas is a benevolent organization if you compare it to Israel. Hamas did not kill babies in the head. Hamas did not shoot children for cold blood. Hamas did not go and starve the populations on October 7th. Hamas, in the crossfire, I mean, we don't even know how many people were killed by Israel, because now the actual figures are getting far more lower. Israel employing the Hannibal Directive on October 7th. The civilian police were repeatedly targeted. At least 34 deaths of malnutrition were reported by 14 September 2024. So how can you say there's no malnutrition? In fact, these are reported deaths. So if they're reported, imagine how many unreported deaths are. At the time of writing of this report, Benjamin Netanyahu was evacuating a plan to block all food supplies to northern Gaza. All food supplies proposed by the advisor Giora Island, who's been quoted many times by Norman Finkelstein as suggesting that, look, Gaza is a refugee camp. Gaza must be reduced to a refugee camp, and starving them and introducing epidemics can be used as a military tactic. This is Giora Island. This is policy. The killing of civilian police and clan leadership, providing security for food distribution, further compounded the crisis across Gaza. And then, of course, we've done the systematic torture by Palestinians, where they're sexually assaulted, they are brutally electrocuted in the anus. B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, has basically detailed approximately 84 detainees who have died in the Israeli torture camps that have been set up now, both in the West Bank and in Gaza, by the Israelis, and they're being murdered in cold blood. And these multiple torments are precisely when the ICJ made the provisional ruling initially in January 2024, which was mild, and then subsequently much later, where they amended it and gave a far more sterner ruling. Israel has violated that. Now they're talking about, and this is Francesca in this UN report, that the risk of genocide could even go to the West Bank and East Jerusalem. In December, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant stated, who's now been axed, what the IDF did in Gaza, that will also be projected on Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. So is this an evil that you're willing to support? Can you support such evil? From 7th of October, this is on the West Bank, Israel forces carried out 5,000 plus raids. Violent settlers, supported by Israeli officials, conducted 1,084 attacks, murdering more than 692 Palestinians, 10 times the previous 14-year annual average of 69 fatalities, and injuring more than 5,000. And the pattern and targeting of children is shocking. Since 7th of October, West Bank, people, West Bank, what's your self-defense on the West Bank? No Hamas there. That's a Palestinian Authority, which is a bulldog of the Israeli Defense Force. They've now shut down Al Jazeera. 169 Palestinian children have been killed. West Bank, nearly 80% of them have been shot in the head or the torso. Why would you shoot children in the head or torso? Explain that. Who is that guy that came on some months back? Tonto, a nutcase, a white nutcase from the United Kingdom called Tonto, who defended this and stated that, look, there's no evidence of this. Well, here's the report. Why would you kill children in the West Bank? This represents a 250% increase on the previous 9 months, totaling more than 20% of children killed in the West Bank since 2000. Mama, do we have anyone in the backstage?
Yeah, we have, but I'm trying to encourage them to at least put their camera on backstage. They're saying that you've already vetted them. It goes by the name of clinical stenographer.
I don't know if it's the same guy. If it's the same guy, but we'll get him on, a clinical stenographer. That's fine. If it's the same person that I have, let's basically see. Do we have Mike, Anam, anyone? But let's share the StreamYard link en masse so we can share it as widely as possible. But I just want to finish this report. We're going to come to an end of this. and this is Itmar Ben-Gvir. This is the National Security Minister. So these are major figures. There was a mass arrest campaign leading to 9,400 detainees. So if you're concerned about the 100 somewhat hostages who are now being bombed by Israel, and the hostage families have turned against Netanyahu and are protesting against him at the Knesset because Israeli forces have been found to be shooting their own hostages dead in cold blood, as we have shown. They've been shown to bomb the hostages, even when the hostages are kept in buildings, they're killing them. So how can you be claiming to save hostages when you're bombing them and shooting them dead? What do you say about the 9,400 Palestinian hostages that have been kidnapped by Israel? And as in Gaza, many are academics, students, lawyers, journalists, and human rights defenders. None of them are terrorists. And the leaked videos, in fact, show rape, gang rape of women by Israeli soldiers, murder of these people who are tortured to death. 12 detainees now, this year, the past few months, in the West Bank died as a result of torture and denial of medical care. Show me one hostage that has been murdered by Israel. Show me one hostage that has been raped by Israel. Show me any one woman that has been raped by Israel. Show me one. Give me one example of rape by Hamas. Show me one. It's now been shown beyond doubt. There's been no evidence. It's been a lie. Beheading of babies, lie. Mass rape, lie. Killing and burning of civilians, lie. All of that was done by Israel on October 7th. And now Israelis are doing it not only to their own hostages, but even to the Palestinian hostages that they've kidnapped, 9,400 that need to be released. In November 2023, Bezalel Smotrich, who was a staunch advocate of colonization and mass expulsion, claimed that there are 2 million Nazis in the West Bank. Imagine this. That's racist hate speech. So if you claim that they're Nazis, that means they're fit for extermination. He then promised to turn several areas of the West Bank into a pile of rubble like Gaza. On 18 August, the Foreign Minister of Israel, Israel Katz, called for the West Bank to receive the same treatment as Gaza. So this is not just soldiers going mad. Of course, the soldiers are going rampant and insane and berserk because the Israeli soldiers, the Israeli occupied forces, are a satanic, sadistic defense force, but they acting on the basis of command responsibility. The northern West Bank has been subject of violence. So she not only discusses West Bank, where she's banned from entering, but also Gaza and West Bank. Protracted sieges, devastation, aerial bombardment. 46 drone and airstrike operations have killed 77 Palestinians, including 14 children. These are drone strikes, not just shooting them in the head. In the Jenin camp, approximately 180 homes were leveled and 3,800 structures damaged, destroying or damaging power supplies, public services and amenities, displacing thousands of families and causing widespread disruption. More than 181,000 Palestinians have been affected, many multiple times. Where? Where have they been affected? Where? On the West Bank. We're not even talking about Gaza. This is West Bank. Is this self-defense? Are they fighting against Hamas? What's their war here? They've got their bulldog, the PA there. So what's their excuse in this instance? On the 27th of August, Israeli satanic forces launched Operation Summer Camps against all in the West Bank, Jenin, Nablus, Kalkia, Tubas, and Tulkaram, fulfilling the promise to treat the West Bank like Gaza. And this is from the United Nations Occupied Human Rights Publications report in humanitarian situation. On days on end, thousands are placed under curfew without food or water. What is this? This is how Nazis behaved. This is the Israeli occupied force, or the Nazi forces. So if you want to support Israel, you have to explain why would you support Nazi fascism? Because that's what Israel's are. Bulldozers destroyed streets and electricity, public health infrastructure. So none of this are news reports. None of this are being made up by me or Mohammed or Kov FM or SADN. None of this. And importantly here, by 29th of May 2024, this is important. Besides, of course, the targeted killing of the destruction of the health sector in the West Bank, now, and they deny you permits, deny you going to medical clinics. So if you've got a cancer or terminal illness, well, what's the whole point of that? Here in May, there was de jure annexation, and it was placed under Smotrich, who's a greater Israel advocate. So he's a settler himself. And now it's officially transferred from military to civilian authority without people even knowing it. So the largest single land appropriation in 30 years has been approved. Since October 7th, Israel has demolished, confiscated, ordered the demolition of more than 1,416 Palestinian structures, displacing 3,200 Palestinians, and at least 18 communities were depopulated. So this is ethnic cleansing on the West Bank. We're talking about West Bank. I mean, you could go on. She goes on into the West Bank. And then she goes on to describe the complexities of genocidal intent, looking at Myanmar, the former Yugoslavia, Rwanda, and now showing that the situation in Gaza is even reaching a stage worse than that. Of course, the killings were large in Rwanda, manifestly so, but this is now systematic. We've never seen anything systematic on this scale by a force, by government in Rwanda on this particular scale. This is Nazi-like behavior, Nazi behavior of the worst kind. So read this report. Read basically the plurality of facts, the circumstances, the context, and of course she describes the whole basis of genocidal intent. Whilst you don't have the kind of industrial scale termination, for example, they haven't set up gas chambers in Gaza. Nobody's going to make that claim they've set up gas chambers. If they did, and the only reason they will not is because this genocide is being covered by social media. Rest assured, if there was no reporters out there and none of the social media activists that are basically covering the genocide, Israel inevitably would have set up gas chambers and they would have murdered people far worse. In fact, they're doing, because what you see now, the scale of the killings, only what we've captured on social media, Al Jazeera, and they've kicked out Al Jazeera in the West Bank. They've kicked out Al Jazeera in Israel. And of course, they're the only reporting that's basically coming out. And of course, the other reporting is by the individual journalists on the ground, reporters who are being killed. That's why they're being targeted, because they're breaking the underbelly of Israel. And she goes on to describe that genocide is more structurally complex and insidious, and therefore more difficult to ascertain than crimes such as mass killing or extermination. So she applies the wider lens here, and she looks at it legally, and she comes to the conclusion in this particular report that not only is genocidal intent being committed, but even through the actions that are being committed by Israel. And of course, she looks at the greater Israeli project in the end, that the aim is to consolidate Jewish sovereignty over the entire area from the River Nile right to the Euphrates. And this is the main aim. The aim is not to target Hamas. The aim is to take over land, destroy people, totally destroy the Palestinian people, destroy churches, homes, hospitals, mosques, neighborhoods, babies, children, education, culture, everything. So deliberately inflicting, there are 5 cases, there are 5 conditions to fulfill the scale of genocide. And even if you fulfill one, you can be proven to commit genocide. Israel has fulfilled all 5. All 5. Think about it, that more than 5, whilst you send your kids to school, more than 500,000 children, 500,000 for more than a year in a highly educated population, a population that highly valued education. They've got no schooling, 88,000 students without universities, and are doomed to dire outcomes. The question I want to ask people out there who've been defending Israel is that how can you support such a satanic, evil state? Because what you are now seeing is worse than the Nakba. How can you support such a satanic state? Explain that. So, Mohammed, whilst we can go on to this, and I want people to look at this particular report, and I'll keep it there so we can show them how the genocidal intent is in fact rationalized as self-defense. This is what Nazi Germany did, and we can open the stream.
Yeah, Yusuf, there's that person still backstage refusing to.
Yeah, bring him on. Bring him on. Bring
I don't know if it's a he or a she. On the picture here, it's a female, but we'll bring them on and see how quickly this will go. Let's
see how it goes. Is my sound clear? Because sometimes.
Hello, hi there. Thanks for having me, everyone. Last time I was strawmanned, so.
Shut up. this particular individual, as you can, I don't know if he is what gender he is. As you can hear, he's got a male voice, but here on the picture is a female. This is the standard of individuals we are getting on the show, unfortunately,
Okay.
guys.
So I want to hear what's his point? What does he want to say? Factual clinical stenographer. Is that Lukman? Is that Lukman speaking?
Hi there. Hi. How are you? You all right?
I'm fine, Lukman. So what do you want to say, Lukman? Have you've been
Look,
listening to this?
I'm not here to cause a ruckus or spoil your tea, but we all need to be analytical about how the genesis of this problem. Okay, let's calm down. Let's not shout at each other, and calmly examine the exegetical background of how it started. You see, many people have been lambasting me in the comments for blaming the Arabs for their plight, but I have actual real documents of correspondence between Kissinger and Shah Faisal, and the Freemasonic links of Algeria,
Okay,
Lebanon.
what we're going to do? We're going to give you a minute.
I have links to all these documents where I can prove that Arabs brought the settlers themselves.
I'm sure you can.
The Arabs.
Stop talking over me. I'm the host here. Stop talking over me. You're going to have a minute to bring your case forward, and then Yusuf will have the same time to respond to your minute. If you're happy with that, we can go along with it. If you're not happy, then I advise you to leave. So we're going to get a minute from now to present your case.
Yeah, first of all, look, I actually don't sympathize with the Arabs because having gone through the historiographical analysis of how the Arabs, did it to themselves, I can tell you that they invited the settlers themselves, and the long and founded intertwining partnership of the Arab scholars of Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria with the Freemasons, where they allowed the expansion of the Freemason Lodge network into Arab, loses my sympathy. And the Ba'ath Party, most people don't know about that. The Ba'ath Party, the Cito and Cento, the Cito contract and the Cento contract, as well as the bifurcation of the Ba'ath Party. One horn of the Ba'ath Party was the Blue-Eyed Stooge, which is Iraqi, what's his name? The two.
Hello,
So that was 1 minute. That was 1 minute of.
Okay, so I want to get you back, clinical stenographer. You've been muted, but because the 1 minute has passed, and you can come back. Look, what we are talking about here is the fact that Israel is committing genocide beyond doubt. We have been bold enough, myself, Brother Mohammed, we've had guests. We don't come here and support any Arab nation, nor are stooges to any Arab. So you're talking about the Ba'ath Party, and I assume you meant Saddam Hussein. And then, of course, Bashar al-Assad, who was also a Ba'athist himself. We don't support any of these people. So the fact that there may have been Arab sellouts, I don't know the circumstance or the factors or what specifically you're referring to.
Okay.
By the way, this whole thing happened long before the 70s. The sellout and the trade-off happened after the Balfour Declaration. But besides all that, we don't support or defend any Arab nation. What we're talking about here is that for several months, we have been clear that Israel is committing genocide beyond reasonable doubt in terms of international law.
We can all see that. It's all very visible. It is visible.
Hold on, Yusuf, you got 10 seconds left. You got 10 seconds. And then
so the first thing, let's get to this reason. Do you admit that Israel is committing genocide? Because a lot of people have come on this platform and have denied that obvious reality.
I believe the genocide is justified, and it's a punishment, expunging of the people. Number one, Arab classes are very Europhilic. You don't know the Arabs. I mixed with them in the universities. They are extremely prejudiced towards South Asians. They're very racist, arrogant people. I don't like them, and I want them to face the judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the upper classes of Arabs, they participate in French, Swedish fashion shows. The upper classes, the Hadids, and this and that, they take pride in Europhilia. They look down on me. I will never help any group of Muslims who look down on me, okay? And it's a chastisement from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from Rasulullah. They need to, be brave enough. And I will never forget the Freemasonic ties Arabs, Yasser Arafat, Jamal Abdel Nasser, the Egyptian presidents, they were all Freemasons. Okay, he died with $400 million in his Swiss bank account on his deathbed. The PLO, father of PLO, Yasser Arafat. I know these Arabs backhand, back to face, front and back. You know, I've studied the CETA contract, the CENTO contract, the Balfour Declaration. They're their own sellouts. You don't need to help them.
And
You just
second,
let it be. Israel will win nonetheless. Israel has already won. Okay, Israel will win, establish its state, and there's nothing these Arabs can do about it. There's nothing.
Okay. So I want to ask you this. 1 minute's up, but I want to ask you this. You said now Europhilia.
Children, I don't worship humans. Okay,
Well, what is Europhilia? Explain what Europhilia is.
Okay, so I study genetics and race. My job is to study genetics and race patterns in every Muslim country.
At which university?
Through confidential. Well, my study is quite confidential at postgraduate level. I can't disclose it because I work for the government, and I can't actually, name the referential institutions because that would then put my membership in jeopardy. All right. Now, what I'm trying to, you're very hardworking. I know you're touched about the humanitarian aspect, sir. With all due respect, Yusuf, but as good-hearted you may be, Allah does not worship. We don't worship women and children. We don't worship humans. Okay, Islam is not a humanitarian religion. The Penal Code of Islam is a direct denial of worshipping the humanitarianism, which is the New Age agenda. We don't worship humans. If a human has committed a crime, that human has to go. Or the people who commit crimes, their heads and legs need to be cut off from opposite side. This and that. Now let's see who's got more religious discipline. Which women are more loose? Are today more Muslim women more sexually loose, or Jewish women? Which women of which religion are more adherent to their religion today? Which women are more?
Look, I don't know, Mohammed. I want to come. Okay, go ahead, Mohammed. I don't know whether to laugh or cry at this guy.
This is called, of course, a shotgun tactic. So many points being made. Can we go one at?
Yeah, because these are all factual points. All the points are factual.
I want to go to the main point. I want to go to the main point that you raised. The main point is that you stated that some Arabs hate you. You say you're a Muslim.
No. I didn't say that. I said that there's a classist division between Arabs. The fair-skinned Arabs are not dying. If you look at the please don't twist it. If you look at the Arab classes, the proportion of people dying in Palestine are all brown-eyed and black-eyed. The eyeballs, racially speaking, they are brown complexion, black-eyed and brown-eyed. All the fair-skinned Arabs, all the European-looking Arabs, they've all fled. They've all living in Norway, Sweden, England, France.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think? Facts are facts, my friend.
No. Facts are not facts. Where did you say?
Why not?
So you are saying.
What kind of behavior is that? I'm giving you actual.
Hold on.
Phylogenetic hierarchical facts.
Hold on. I want to get this. You see, I'm going to keep you on, but I have to mute you. I want to clarify something. You said that Arabs basically are the Arabs that you've come across are engaged or have this phenomenon called Europhilia, which is, I would assume, some sort of philia, some sort of infatuation towards lighter skinned people, and some sort of hatred and classist mentality towards darker skinned people. Now, that may be the case among some Arabs that you may have
in the upper classes, yes, the Bella Hadid quality, yes, they do, yeah.
Now, my question is, in light of that may possibly be playing itself out before your eyes in Europe or in the United Kingdom or at the university where you are, how does it justify an Israeli soldier shooting multiple children in the head and gang raping Palestinian women?
First of all, IDF never gang rape. Let me clarify that. IDF do not gang rape. Let me defend IDF here. They do not gang rape. They shoot you cleanly, all right? They shoot you cleanly, then they just, that's it. They kill you from a distance. They don't rape. They don't do the dirty things Indians do. Indian soldiers, they rape and sodomize Kashmiri boys.
Okay.
Yusuf, is this guy for real?
I honestly don't know if he's for real, but I want to just see him because he's exposing himself. The more and more he's talking about.
IDF have not raped anyone, all right? They've never raped. They don't rape, all right? They don't do that.
I'll give you 30 seconds to make the point about rape. You're saying IDF does not rape Palestinians.
Yeah, they don't. It's Muslim propaganda, like Muslims trying to gain more sympathy. They don't rape. They don't insert. They just shoot you. That's it. One bullet. That's what they do. They're clean killers.
Okay, so you're saying basically, let me get this, that the fact that there's allegations that IDF are raping and torturing and abusing Palestinians in their jails, this is Muslim propaganda.
No, that's
Am I correct?
mutilation. This is what you don't understand, the legality between mutilation versus rape.
Hold on.
Rape, no,
Hold on.
excuse me, sir. No, with all due respect, there's a difference between mutilation and rape. Rape is actual sexual act, whereas mutilation is chopping off.
Okay.
Yeah, do you understand that now?
So let me get this clear, right? So we're on the same part. Rape is physical, according to the definition, and I'm a lawyer, sexual penetration into any orifice.
Exactly. There has to be a sexual motive. But if you're torturing someone and mutilating the private parts, that's mutilation. And there's many categories. There's rape, there's assault, there's sexual assault, then there is, penetrated rape, then non-penetrating. There are 4 or 5 different categories in legalese. Okay. And also, mutilation is out of anger. It's out of rage. Yeah, mutilation is out of rage. I hope you understand that. It's rage-based mutilation is not rape.
Okay, so hold on. I just want to get this clear, so let me understand. So you are saying that Israelis are engaging in mutilation but not rape?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They just want to, eliminate the enemy.
Israelis are engaging in mutilation but not rape, and that the allegations...
Yeah, you should have specified it. You're a lawyer, solicitor, whatever. You should have, clarified it.
I'm talking about
it is horrible. I know it's horrible, but that's what qital is. They're doing qital for their religion.
No, I'm talking about rape. Is the allegation...
They're doing what you should have done, and now you're crying about it.
No, hold on. I'm asking you, is the allegations of rape that are leveled against Israel, is that Muslim propaganda?
Yeah, humanitarian PLO propaganda.
Okay, so that's humanitarian PLO propaganda. Muhammad, just share this report. Just share this. I've got on the screen.
Yeah, but is there actual evidence?
This is from the Israeli Information Center for Human Rights in the Occupied Territories called B'Tselem. They've produced 2 reports. One report which we've discussed at length called Welcome to Hell, where they go into discussion in detail about abuse and torture in interrogations of dozens of Palestinian minors in the Israeli police Etzion facility. This was as far back as 2013, but there's another report called Welcome to Hell. Welcome to Hell, B'Tselem rape. I'm just going to stop the share, but I just want you to share this. It's called Welcome to Hell, where they detail a particular incident where they took a stick, an object, what they call this, a motor, where you tase someone, and they put it up the person's backside. And then they document a particular situation where the Israelis are involving in rape of Palestinian women. Now, before I get you back on the air, I just want to share this report here. I want to just share this report, and I want you to comment because you said this is
that's
Muslim
what they're doing.
PLO. This is Muslim PLO propaganda. This is an Israeli human rights organization which is based in Tel Aviv called B'Tselem. Yeah. They produced a 300-page document called Welcome to Hell. The Israeli prison system has a network of torture camps. And since 7th of October, they talk about physical and psychological abuse. They talk about the absence of...
Yeah, but that's all abuse. It's torture. It's not rape. Rape is sexually motivated.
But if you look at the report...
No, they just added the word rape just to make it more... But it's not rape technically. It is legally, it's mutilation and torture, okay? That's not rape. Rape is when...
Basically, a hijabi, they go... This is a separate report. I was putting a put in the ground. When I was in it with all the other... Soldiers ordered me to take off my hijab. Now, you open
this report... Yeah, that's called torture, mate. It's torture, not... It's not rape, it's torture.
Bury you alive. Let the dogs eat you. About half an hour, they took us and put us in a truck. And then if you open this particular report by Halil Dahdu Zaza, I was opening it up in the 600-page document, they detail the rape. She details rape. Now, is her testimony correct or is her testimony false? Because this is documented by the Israeli
very traumatic. I understand that, but this woman should...
Was she raped or not? Was she raped or not?
That's torture. It's mutilation, not rape. It's not rape because rape is sexually motivated.
What is rape for you? So when they penetrated her, that's not rape.
They've been using different objects and devices.
Hold on. When they penetrated her, is that not rape? Do you need your penis to penetrate?
They didn't specify that.
No, well, they specified. They specified that
They just
were
use the word
using.
rape and that's it. They
They
just
were
use RAP. That
No,
using the word doesn't.
They used the taser in the orifice in the anus.
Yes, that's
And they
torture, my friend. You don't understand
No,
that.
no,
It's just.
So,
I mean, you're a
no,
lawyer. You're supposed to
no,
know this. The legalese, the semantic nuisance. It's a lot of semantic noise here. You should understand the difference. This is known as torture mutilation.
No, it's not. It's not. When you penetrate someone, whether it's with your finger, whether it's with
No, not.
with
See, they use the taser. So taser is an electronic device.
No, that is rape. That is rape. You don't need a penis.
So it's not. It's called mutilation and it's torture. It's torture. It's sexual torture. No, it's sexual torture. But it.
Okay, so if I bring you a definition of rape, if I give you a definition of rape which says any penetration of any orifice, will you accept that?
So proctology is rape as well? Are you saying that?
Not proctology. You said that rape has to have a
sexual intent behind it, behind of sexual gratification. Rape has to have an intent of sexual gratification, whilst these people are getting tortured. Just please understand the difference. Torture, mutilation is not the same as rape. It can have psychological impact similar to that of a rape, but it's not. It can be PTSD similar to what a rape victim experiences, but in actual essence of the procedural itemization, it is not classed as our word. It's classed as torture and then mutilation. So you tortured someone.
If I show you a legal definition,
cellular mutation, it leads to.
I'm going to share it now. I'm going to share it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I understand where you're coming from. It's cellular mutation.
Okay, hold on. You're saying it's mutilation.
It leads to infections. It can lead to orificial infections and of the genitalia and this and that. That's classed as torture, and then they lead the person to die. That happens a lot in Kashmir, but no one bothers about it. But
we talk about Kashmir all the time. I've talked about it many times.
I don't know. But the thing is, Arabs, the upper classes of the Arabs have sold them out.
Be quiet for a second. Be quiet for a second. Let me speak.
This is what we call the Criminal Law Sexual Offence and Related Matters Amendment Act 32 of 2007. So I'm just looking at it here, sexual offences of children.
Everyone is butthurt about me. I'm not defending Israel. I'm just letting you know that Muslims are not justified in the protests, okay? Islam doesn't tell women to come out and protest with their tits out, yeah? All of the girls and women in England are protesting.
Here we are. Can you see this, look, man? Can you see this? Look at it. Sexual penetration includes any act which causes penetration to any extent by the genital organs of one person.
Exactly, genital organs. And you're talking about tasers. Taser is not an organ.
Hold on. Into or beyond the genital organs, anus, or the mouth of a person, and the other part of the body of one person, or any object, including any part of the body of an animal, into or beyond the genital organs or anus of another
now that's
person.
just explanation. You're expanding the meaning. But if you look at the primal definition, the first-hand primary definition
includes any object. So anything, any object.
Yeah, but humans are not objects. Human hand is not an object. A taser, a torture equipment is object. Yeah, sexual rape is different. Yeah, what the Japanese did to the Chinese, that's different.
In terms of the act, it basically
you can call it rape for your satisfaction, but the thing is,
okay, so let's
why are Arabs in this position? My job was to come here and elucidate as to why are Arabs in this position. Yeah, let's get back to the topic of why were Arabs.
Mutilation. Let's assume it's mutilation. Do you then agree on your definition, which is flawed, on your definition that that the satanic Israeli occupied forces are engaging in mutilation of Palestinian women and children? Yes or no?
First of all, they're killing them indiscriminately. They're not mutilating
Are they mutilating them?
The ones they can get their hands on, or the ones they feel angry about, yeah, they will, obviously.
Mutilating them, right? Okay, that's fine. Are they shooting them in the head?
They are, yeah, of course. They're clean killers. The idea for clean killers, they don't do prolonged torture.
So in light, so you're agreeing with these facts. You can't refute that. Do you support that?
Am I bombing them?
No. Do you support that?
Am I bombing them? Are you telling me I'm bombing them? You're making me look like I'm the one bombing them.
Who did myself or Muhammad ever make the claim
No,
that
but
you're
this is the
bombing?
hint I get. I'm here to tell you why the Arab persecution and displacement is justified, as to what their upper classes did to sell out, and that was the rightful conclusion. It was supposed to happen. It was only a matter of time. Israel is about to win. Is about to
Right.
establish the blue borders. The blue
Is it
borders will
right?
take hold. It's only a matter of time. You can't stop it because of what the upper classes of Arabs have done. Your protests are meaningless. Your prayers are worthless and meaningless, because vast majority of the Muslim are kafir. Vast majority of the Muslim are intellectually, functionally kafir. They don't believe in the economic, political, financial system of Islam. They prefer a kafir lifestyle. And look at all the Muslim elites, and even the bottom, below the poverty line populations of Muslim countries. They live like animals, like goyim. Like, what do you expect? You expect victory in this condition? Are you kidding me, mate?
Okay.
Like, look at the condition of the Muslim population all over the world over. Yeah, they don't want to implement the economic, political, financial infrastructure, and neither the administrative governance nor the bureaucratic legalese of the Islamic route. No, they don't want to. Yeah, there is immense racism in the Muslim world. The Central Asians are extremely racist, and the Afghanis, you look at Iranian and Tajik problem, Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan problem. There is immense racism in the Muslim world. Immense racism in the Muslim world. When will you talk about that? Because you're in South Africa.
Can you mute him for a minute? I want to ask you this question. In all this rant that you made mention of, my question to you is, does Israel have any moral agency in any of this? Because their actions, we understand the point is, there's so much of pity, self-pity on your side, so much of victim-like mentality
Realism.
on your side. So much of victim-like mentality on your side. Does Israel have any
No,
moral
you're the
agency?
victim-minded. I'm the one raising you out of it. Yeah. Now, it is not justified. It is. It is. There's no such thing as justification. The only justification is power. Power justifies itself. Whenever you have the power. No, this is what you don't understand. Conquerors are keepers. According to the Sunnah of Allah. Sunnatullahi li kalimati tabdila. Sunnah of Allah.
Does Israel have any moral agency in what it's doing? I'm going to ask, can you answer that question? Does Israel have moral agency in what it's doing? Answer that.
The Sunnah of Almighty says power is might. Conquerors are keepers. Conquerors are keepers, all right? If you conquer it, you get...
No, my question to you is...
Where did you get this guy from, Yusuf?
No. My question to you, we get too many guys. I don't know where these people come. He's from Coventry.
No, conquerors are keepers. If you can conquer it, maintain it, it's yours, all right?
Where does Israel have any moral agency in anything? In any of its
let me
actions?
ask you: does it have the power to conquer it?
No, that's not the point. Of course, it does have the power.
There is the point, because you're not following the Quran and Sunnah. The Quran says conquerors are keepers. If you can conquer it, maintain it, it's yours. That's the Sunnah.
So it's okay. So here, I want to go with that. Just wait. Give me a minute now, because I'm giving you enough time here. So you're saying conquerors are keepers, and the Quran says conquerors are keepers. But now what we are seeing is Israel is committing not just genocide and ethnic cleansing, but the worst forms of genocide and ethnic cleansing we've seen for decades. So my question again to you is, in all of this, in all this rant that you had about the Arab world and the Muslims and so on, does Israel have moral agency in the whole notion of king is conqueror? Does it have any moral agency? Can you answer that question?
First of all, your question is quite convoluted. And you're asking me.
It's a simple question.
It's convoluted.
Does Israel have any moral agency in its actions? It's a yes or no answer. Simple.
It's not about morals, okay? It's if you have the power to conquer it, you get to keep it. That's how the world. That's how it is. Israel can do what it wants
to because the Muslim world is corrupt.
Don't expect it. No. First of all, they're not saints, all right? Don't expect them to follow the Sharia or the how to be nice to women and children. They won't. Yeah. Don't expect other nations to treat you like you treated them. All right. First of all, they're not you. Yeah.
I don't understand your argument. Are you saying that basically because the Muslim world is so corrupt and involved in racism and so on and so forth, therefore Israel has the moral right to do whatever it can?
No, that's the conclusion. I'm telling you that this is what was supposed to happen anyway. It was going to happen. It was only a matter of time. Domino effect. It was supposed to.
Say that as a result of the fact that you've encountered...
You're making me look like I'm bombing them and I'm the one behind it and I'm chopping people's dicks off.
No, you're not bombing them, but you're justifying the mass murder.
I'm just calm about it. I know what was happening, what these people are, what they deserve.
The last time you started being abusive, you weren't calm about it.
No, I didn't, because you strawman me. You actually spoke on my behalf, which is a violation, a human rights violation. If you pretend to be an expert on hate, don't do that. Don't strawman other people. Don't speak on their behalf.
Okay. So me speaking out against you was a human rights violation, but the Israeli occupied forces shooting 5-year-old Hind Rajab 550 times with high volatile bullets. That's not a human rights violation.
It is. It is. When did I say it isn't? But is there anything you can do about it? I don't think so.
It. So why don't you come out and condemn it like we've done?
Condemn it because I can't condemn it. My religion doesn't allow me to condemn it because I knew that this was the overall conclusion, the resultant conclusion of when you deviate from it. Excuse me. When you deviate from the functional parametrics of the religion that you're supposed to follow, this is what happens. It happened to every civilization, every country, everywhere.
What is your religion?
You're not an exception, all right? This is what happens when you don't follow.
I want to know one thing. What is your religion?
See, the same question again. It's like you're asking.
What is your religion? You said your religion. Wait, mute him. You said I'm going to ask you and I'm going to get you back. You said your religion forbids you from condemning Israeli genocide, Israeli ethnic cleansing, Israeli massacre, Israeli gang rape, Israeli mutilation, Israeli...
So condemnation comes with power. It's proportional to power. You can't condemn anything if you don't have the power. This is what I'm trying to tell you. In order to condemn something, you have to have the power to condemn it.
Mute him and then answer my question.
Please try to understand that.
No, I'll let you speak. So my question to you is this, stenographer. What religion is preventing you from condemning that? And my question is why? And it comes back to the issue, how are you still making the point that Israel has no moral agency when it shoots dead Palestinian children? I just don't see the logic behind it because Palestinians are an ethnic minority and a group. And you are now foisting the sins of the fathers or the sins of other Arab nations and the sins of racism that you may have experienced on the Palestinians and justifying it by saying, look, this is what this Muslim country is doing. This is what some of the Arabs who love white women are doing. Maybe you do the same. And therefore, the Palestinians must be brutally murdered and massacred. That's the argument I'm hearing.
No, I never said that. I was trying to make a point. Condemnation comes with power. You cannot condemn anything if you don't have the power to condemn it. You need to get that straight first. Yeah? Get that straight. The only thing you can do is to condemn it in your mind, but that's worthless. Vast majority of the people... people with power need to condemn it. It's not your place to condemn it. People with actual power need to condemn it. You are not...
Let me ask you this. Do you see it as evil? Do you see it as evil or good? You can clearly...
I don't expect any better from them.
No, do you see it as good as or evil? Their actions right now. Do you see it as
they're
good
Khazarian, right? For the last 10,000 years, they are devil worshippers. They're not real Jews. The Khazarian Jews have outbred, okay, the Semitic Jews, and the Iranian elite is also Khazarian Ashkenazic DNA. They have taken over many parts of Islam. They've taken over governments, and they're ruling those governments. The Jordanians, Iranians, they are Khazarian DNA. I go by race. I don't look at a person. I look at the person's race and DNA because your race determines how you behave and how you, uptake the religious principles. These are Khazarian Jews. They follow the Talmud. They follow Tanakh. You've never studied Tanakh in your life. You never studied Talmud. I have. You never finished Torah.
How would you know?
You've never done that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking about it. You have no idea about occult principles of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala runs this world. Yeah, you know nothing about it, and you're telling me, whether I should condemn it. I don't have any power to condemn. Look at your own flaws first and see how much time you're wasting when you're powerless. Worthless, powerless masses can't do much. Yeah, you need to understand.
I want to ask you: do you study the occult?
Okay, so you need to understand who these people are. These people are Khazarian Ashkenazic, right?
Do you study the occult? I'm just asking because you raised it. Do you study the occult?
I raised points about Khazarian. You never asked me about Khazarian. Yeah, why don't you talk about the Khazarian people? Why don't you talk about the Donme Muslim world? The Donme, the Erdogans, the Khomeinis, Why don't you talk about the fake Muslim, pretending to be Mom Fatima? Yeah, the Khomeinis say they're linked to the phylogenetic tree of Fatima, but they're not. They are Ashkenazic. CIA actually had to set up an office before overthrowing Reza Shah Pahlavi in the 1979 under the slogan of It was a false advertisement of Islam, but their job was to promote a kind of Islam that would make people hate Islam. And today, vast majority of the Iranian women are kafir because Iranian women hate every aspect of Islam. Every Iranian I ever came across in my life was kafir, was atheistic proudly. They hate Islam. Central Asian people have very little Islam in them. They're extremely kafir. And you meet them, they don't know how to even urinate properly. They know nothing about Islamic verses. They don't know how to recite Quran. Vast majority of the Turkish that are kafir. Vast majority of the Turks are arrogant kafir. They never recite Arabic. They never take a pleasure in learning about the actual scriptural, textual teachings and Arabic, recitations of Quran. They sell alcohol. They're filthy. They are doing all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and you expect me to feel sorry for Muslims? Yeah, look at the Arabs. Look at the Lebanese. Lebanese are the most kafir people I've ever come across in my life. They value their fairness. They value their European features. I have no sympathy for them. All right, I'll say that to everyone.
Hold on. Now we know one thing, that you're not only an occultist, but you're also a takfiri, because every single Muslim out there, in fact, by the looks of it,
wow, amazing. Now I'm a takfiri now. Really?
Well, have you just not made takfir of the entire Iranian population, of every Jordanian, every Lebanese? They're all kafirs. Did you not just say that now a few minutes ago?
Okay,
you said
that's fine. Fine, Yusuf. Fine. Live by your delusions, yeah? Live by your delusions and see how far you go, yeah? Keep doing what you're doing and...
Okay, did you not just say that the Iranians are kafirs, that the Lebanese are kafirs, that the Arabs are kafirs?
Did you hear me talk about the Ashkenazic elite? You never accept
I
the
did.
All the straw manning. You've got the Dawa mentality, yeah? The Dawa mentality is ruining the Muslims. The Dawa mentality, two-token sentence mindset. It's ruining the Muslim intellect. Muslims don't have an intellect left to talk about the intricacies of the philosophy of history as to how they've been ruined. There's been a genetic decline of the Muslim IQ, yeah, racial genetic decline, from bone marrow density to pure matter, white matter concentration in different parts of the brain. It's just you become animals now. And Jews never considered Muslims to be goyim.
There's so much of racism in that. It's shocking. There's so much.
It's not racism. It's physical anatomy, my friend. Yeah. These.
I don't know where this conversation is going, because, and we have to end it soon, but
it's going where it's supposed to. It's going to the fact that we need to stop talking about humanitarianism. We need to admit that this suffrage is self-inflicted, and it was supposed to happen. It was only a matter of time that the blue borders would be accepted. And you are in denial. You are in abject refusal of the situation. You don't want to admit the fact that you are not in a position to do anything. You're powerless, and you can earn a few, quid by doing your podcast and videos. Yeah, do your podcasts, do your videos, do your Islamic fashion shows, do your hijab fashion shows, do your modeling. Yeah, keep doing that. Do it to see where it takes you. See where it takes all the Muslims right to hell, and you are destined for hell. And the Arab slavery under Israel has just begun. Trust me. Mark my words.
Am I destined for hell?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the Arab slavery under Israel has just begun. Yeah,
where the Israelis are going to, where the Israelis going to for the
blue borders will be established very soon. It'll be e-currency, e-money. It'll be CDBC very soon by 20. Just watch what happens by 2030. Slowly, the throat will be choked. Slowly, the small businesses will be killed. COVID's taken over. The fog will descend. Depopulation. Just watch, see what happens. You're dealing with demonic elites. You have no idea what you're dealing with, and this preachy about humanitarianism is going to cost you a lot, because you're completely oblivious to the actual micromechanics of this. I'm sick of these Jubba topi people, these Jubba, these praying mosque 5-time Jubba people. They've done nothing, right? They don't read, they don't write, none of these Muslim scholars know anything about financial computational mathematics. I've studied computational financial mathematics, computational fluid dynamics. I studied historiographical analysis of the philosophy of science. I studied all of this, and still people can't tolerate me. They label me as an Islamophobe and this and that. But the reality is against you. The cards are stacked against if you don't make a real move.
I want to ask you something honestly, but tell me, are you on, you've said so much of things. Are you on medication? Are you on
See,
medication?
this is mockery. You're mocking me. I'm giving you factual analysis.
I'm trying to understand you. I'm not mocking you. I'm being
Why are you
realistic.
mocking me? Why would you do this? You're a quote unquote lawyer, solicitor. See, you're not even serious. You just want to make a quick buck out of these videos by preaching humanitarianism. You're not genuine. If you were genuine,
out of this. Hold on. You think we're making money out of this?
Yeah, maybe your views and subscribers.
Well, what money? How many subscribers do you need to make any kind of monetization on YouTube?
So it has to be 4,000 hours, 4,000, and then 1,000, something like that.
I don't even have half of that. Both our channels are not monetized, and we don't.
No, I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. You know what, Yusuf? You could do what you like. I respect your pain. Yeah, I understand you're very naive and you're a baby believer. You're very.
I'm a baby believer.
Just carry on doing what you're doing. But after 10 years, you'll remember my words. All the people watching me, slandering me, hating on me, will remember my words after 10, 20 years. When 2030 hits...
Well, why so much of victim mentality there? Who's attacking you?
It's the opposite of victim mentality, you see. You are in denial. You think that people should act a certain way. People act according to the power they have vested in them. Yeah, power determines your behavior. Power determines your fear. Power determines what condemnation you can take. Yeah. Power determines your behavior on this earth, and that's why the whole of Quran and Sunnah is to empower you. So establish your own system, have your own things, so you wouldn't have to beg other people for subsistence. And that's what the Muslims never, because they're Europhilic. They've been compulsive Europhilic. They see the English, they bend over. They see the Dutch, they take their clothes off. They see the French, and they want to do fashion shows with them. Yeah, these women, who do modeling.
You won't remember who you are. There's someone put that on the post. But I'm asking you, why did you not come on with show us who you are? Why did you put a female picture in your particular image when you came on? What was the aim behind this?
Okay, let me ask you a question. What would you say about Muslim women?
My question, why did you put a female picture there? Because you're talking about hijab.
Identity news. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about Muslim elites or Muslim factions involved in fashion industry, modeling, media, and entertainment businesses?
We don't support any of that. We don't support it. We've condemned it. We don't. None of us, neither me nor Muhammad, are involved in any fashion shows here. We don't support any of that. I don't know where you get this idea that we are in support of that. But we've been consistent in condemning the Israeli genocide, and to date, up to now, 4th of January, not a single pro-Zionist has ever been able to refute any of our arguments. Not one. Not one.
For me, who's not Zionist, yeah, I'm not one, and yet I've refuted all of your points. Anyway,
you said nothing. What have you said of substance in half an hour? Tell me. I don't understand. Really.
Maybe not to you, but the thing is, the polarization of the Muslim countries always takes place.
We know that. So what? What are you saying? That's happening.
So
we know
what?
that. So what?
So you're.
You know that.
When I present the facts that have been, historiographically traumatic, you say, so what, this and that. That's not fair. You're showing signs of low IQ. Yeah. The liberal part of the Muslim world is the one that gets aided and supported through fashion shows, media industry. And they're the ones who polarize the Muslim societies, bring them closer to nudity, to films and movies and dramas and feminism, and they change their minds slowly according to vast funding and indoctrination, and that's why a lot of hemorrhage ideological hemorrhage has taken place. Ideological. Look at what's happening to Muslims in India. Look what happened to Muslims in Rohingya. No one ever bothered about Muslims in Rohingya. Yeah, no one ever said anything about that.
Hold on. Just 1 second before you go on. You said so much. You're talking about and taking such a condemnatory stance against all these Muslims and Muslim leaders and so on and so forth.
But I Rohingya and they made kebabs out of them. Yeah, do you remember that?
I know all of that. Don't teach me history. My question to you is that why is it? And you're talking about fashion shows and immorality. Why is it that some years back you came on our Open Islamic Debate Forum and you posted pornography there? Why did you do that?
I never did that. First of all, I never did that. I've been talking to you since February 2020. Yeah, February 2020. I've been talking to you. You've been swearing at me on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, you've been shouting at me, swearing at me, threatening me, and that's your character.
Why did you post pornography? Why did you post pornography on an Open
Where
Islamic Debate?
I never did that. I've been sharing memes. I've been sharing stickers. I made stickers out of your face. I made fun of your face, how you look, and your life, and but I never actually showed any X-rated. I items. And if you
No,
do,
but
please share them
you
here.
posted pornographic imagery, memes.
Whereabouts? Whereabouts was it? It was
Why
your
did you do
stickers.
that?
You're calling your face pornographic. That's a bit, too idealistic. That's a bit, I made stickers out of your face. I wrote things on your face, and I said
What
that
did you write?
know.
Can you tell the group what did you write? Can you tell us what did you
So
write?
some of the stickers I made about your face were, Gucci this and Deal Bundy and this and that.
You said
You are
want
Gujarati. You're genetically Gujarati. I can tell you're Gujarati.
You said you want a group of men to ejaculate on my face. Why did you say that? Why did you say that?
At that time, we were fighting with each other.
Why did you post it on a forum with Muslim women? Why did you post it on a forum with Muslim women? Why did you?
Yeah, we were in a WhatsApp group. It wasn't a forum, first of all, WhatsApp group, and we were going about.
Debate forum with Muslim
no, it wasn't Islamic debate. Check the group name again.
Why did you do that?
No porno was shared. It was just your face with quirky comments. Yeah, and you became very angry, and then you talked to Saf, and then you blocked me, and then I kept chasing you for a while.
Why did I block you? I'm allowing you all these years later, despite you abusing me. Why did I block you?
Because at that time I outsmarted you. I embarrassed you in your own group with my factual, analysis, and you couldn't. And people in your own group were turning against you. They were saying, "Oh no, he's right," and you became jealous. You didn't want to listen to me, and then you had to get rid of me.
That's okay. That's over. My other question is: some weeks back, when you first came on this platform, Brother Muhammad had, I think, his grandchild or something in the background, and then you produced a video where you condemned his grandchild. And you abused his grandchild. Why did you do that?
Yeah, it's still there on the channel. Clinical stenographer. I condemn a lot of. I condemn a lot of people. And
why did you choose? Why did you choose? Because you're talking about morality and the entire Muslim world being in the gutters, which we don't deny. Why did you choose to abuse Brother Muhammad's grandchild? Why did you do that?
First of all, I don't think this guy here, Cove FF, is that old to have a grandchild. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong?
He's a grandfather.
You are very wrong.
He's a grandfather. So why?
Oh my goodness! We should get you checked for underage marriages, something like that. But let's get you investigated.
No, answer the question. Why did you abuse?
Let's get him investigated then. Yeah, let's flip this.
On his grandchild. You can be arrested by the police in the United Kingdom.
He can be arrested for underage marriage. Let's have him checked. Yeah.
And why did you accuse me of getting MI5 to your door to investigate you? Why did you do that? You told Sarfraz that I got MI5 to investigate you. Why did you do that?
Why did you say what you said? Yeah, what was that about, sir?
I got MI5 to investigate you. I got MI5.
Let's examine Muhammad first for underage marriage abroad. Yeah, let's see how old his wife was and how old his children were. Yeah, what was the age of the first child of Muhammad when he got married? Yeah, and it'll be quite frisky. So let's talk about this.
Are you afraid of being arrested? We're not afraid of being arrested. I'm not
a racist. I'm just aware of the. I'm aware. No, I don't. Hamas is a stooge of IDF. Yeah, I never support them. I never support Hezbollah. I exactly know what's going on. The philological, hierarchical heuristics of the operation is completely clear to me. That's why I don't support anything. I never supported any part of this issue.
Fine. I want to know. You're a good guy, right? So forget the pornography on me. But my question to you is, why did you abuse his grandchild? Explain that he must.
Why did he get married so young? Why did he get married before the age of 16? Then what was the age of his wife? Let's talk about that. Because I can countersue him and file a family court district order against him, and then the social services will take away his children. No, family court will take away his children. Social services will confiscate his children because they were born out of a wedlock that was underaged, where one participant was underage according to English regulations.
You stated this is a sickness. This is a sickness that we got.
I can't deal with this guy anymore. I really can't.
I mean, this guy is sick in the head. I knew it was going to go down. I knew it was going to go down because once you trigger them at the right point, he had posted pornographic imagery on an open Islamic debate forum some years back. Now he's saying we're scared. No, we're not scared. You just accused Brother Muhammad of being falsely, without any knowledge, of being involved in underage marriage. You just shockingly made that comment. And you're making all these wild comments. I don't know. I've listened to you for half an hour. We've given you half an hour, more than we generally keep people. We could have cut you off. You accused him, lambasted him, when I simply asked you as to why you abused his grandchild. So I don't know if you want to bring him back and then give him one last chance, because I want him to apologize. Can you explain to me forget the under, because there's no evidence that he's married anyone underage. You've got
Yeah,
no
yeah.
evidence.
Sorry, bear with me, please, just for a moment.
Why did you abuse his grandchild? You stated
Hi,
Allah
Lich.
must curse his grandchild and that his grandchild is disabled. Why did you abuse his grandchild? Because that's a criminal offense in the United Kingdom, and you can be arrested for that, and we can easily trace you, and we can get you arrested, and Sarfaraz will more than willingly give his details to you. Otherwise, he'll get arrested in the process if he's covering you up. You just engage in what they call doxing and abusing a child that was clearly visible. Why did you abuse Brother Muhammad's grandchild?
Sorry,
Explain.
I didn't realize he had retarded grandchildren because of, intermarriage, cousin marriage.
So you calling his
Despicable indeed. That's disgusting.
So you calling his
I'm
children
disgusted by these retarded grandchildren, ugly, grandchildren. Ugh, I spit on his grandchildren. Poo! I hereby spit on your grandchildren. Let me spit on your grandchildren child's face. Poo! 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 I'll push him off the fucking cliff then, idiot. Dirty little inbred, bastardized child. Ugly grandchild.
No, I knew I wanted him to continue with his rant because basically I want people to know he came on our channel, the Open Islamic Debate, and some of the most vilest, abusive, pornographic content involving bestiality. He posted it. And this was viral content. This was explicit content of the word. This is extreme pornography, which he posted on an Islamic Debate forum. Back then, WhatsApp didn't have that ability to delete the messages where now the admin can delete a message. This was about just before COVID 2020. He posted extreme pornography. Now he comes on and he accuses Brother Muhammad and he states that his children are retarded and then he abuses them. So I want him to come on back and apologize for his comment. Bring him one last time to apologize for his comment. Can you apologize for what you just said, your abusive four-letter word? Spreading explicit pornography.
Retard. I said retard.
Abusing his grandchildren.
His grandchildren are dirty, ugly, and retarded, born out of intermarital cousin marriage wedlock. Yeah.
So you're a sick, satanic person.
I'm not sick. I didn't have sex with his wife. I never had. I had no part in this.
But you posted extreme pornography on our channel. You posted extreme. But one thing we do know is you watch extreme pornography. And what I'm going to now do is I'm going to now follow up with the law enforcement officials in the United Kingdom. I'm going to contact Sarfaraz. I've got his details. Very easy to trace his character. Very easy. Bring him back because I'm going to tell him what I'm going to do. Bring him back. All this content is going to be.
Excuse me. I also know about your commercial assets. You were running your businesses in England and South Africa without having paid the proper taxes. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's trace this Muhammad as well. Let's trace all of you and see what happens then. Yeah, it'll be quite a lot of litigious hard work.
Can you post that? Because we've got your content. I've got your pornography.
You're very much interested in Muhammad's grandchildren.
Can you post that? Can you post that content where I'm involved in businesses in the UK? Can you post that? You see we gave you half an hour and I gave you the benefit of the doubt and you abused us on the previous occasion. We never raised that and you came back. Now you've gone back to your tactics after you've been exposed. So can you see this? Once I just call you out for your evil, you just exposed was an evil person. Can't you see that the people are laughing at you, that they're seeing what a
doesn't
violent
matter.
individual you are?
Yeah. Anyway, don't shift it to his grandchild, ugly, retarded grandchild.
Yusuf, do you really want to continue with this?
No, I think get rid of this guy. This guy's a waste of time. He's wasted our stream. So get rid of him. So I'm saying to people out there, this is the evil that we're dealing with. When we boldly come, Israel is committing genocide beyond any doubt. Come and challenge us. And I wouldn't be surprised that he's put up by some Zionist. Some Zionist out there is basically putting him up in relation to his particular actions, in relation to what he does and what he sees. So, that's basically...
Let me make a quick assessment of this individual. He probably lives at home in a basement. He's probably a single parent. He's probably got a mom.
I don't even know if he's got children.
I think he constantly watches pornographic material. I'm sure he's got a box of tissues and probably a tub of Vaseline next to him. And I think this is his life. I think he was possibly abused by a cat or a dog.
I mean, what motivates such people, Mohammed? You know, we had Imam Al-Asi spoke about Muslim Zionists. And he was talking about at the elitist level, of course. But within our own society, what kind of people are these? What kind of people are these that you've got
But
in your own
Yusuf, you got to
community?
understand, Yusuf, it's an ugly world. There are
Yeah.
ugly people out there, brothers and sisters. You really have to understand this, that what we see and what we experience with our own bubble. Life is bigger than our bubble. We are in the safety of our friends and family, but there are people like this who are willing to do harm verbally, if possible, physically to us. And I want to make this clear that this individual spoke horribly about me. And to be honest, it really doesn't bother me at all. And I just want to make it aware to you, the brothers and the sisters, there are nut jobs out there. And I'm very surprised, Brother Yusuf, he had your number, because he kept on saying that he's calling you, and he wants to come on. The people like this are dangerous.
My number was given, I think, to him by the UK brother Sarfaraz, who was the other guy that we chatted to some time back. But what is of concern now online, what's happening to us, I don't know if you are willing to share that, but from my side, and maybe you can share your experience with the viewers out there, is that my Facebook account, which I was using, it had about, I think, I'm not on social media or Twitter or X or anything else, but my Facebook account had the maximum number of friends, which is close to 5,000. That's a maximum. And of course, you had a number of groups. And I was incessantly and regularly posting material, this live stream and so on. And on the 17th of December, I just want to explain this. On the 17th of December, for some reason, all of a sudden, my Facebook account was just simply shut. It was closed. It was locked. Now I can't access it. I can't access my Facebook account. Can't have viewing it. Can't see it. Can't have nothing. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind, no doubt whatsoever, that Facebook has imposed this by virtue of some sort of complaint. I have obviously been prevented from, I've had bannings, as we've had on this YouTube channel and others, 30 days at a time and so on and so forth. The reason why Facebook banned me is because of the fact that we have now experienced and posting incessantly for months on end the Israeli genocide. And I think you had the similar experience recently. I'm not so sure if you are privy to discuss that.
My one was a lot worse than Brother Yusuf's. Brothers and sisters, everything of mine was hacked. I even received an email regarding the podcast that I do. It was like a bribe. At the same time, they got into my phone numbers, they got into my emails, they got into my social media. Currently, right now, my Instagram and Facebook has been hacked. One of my Instagram pages, I've actually, alhamdulillah, got into it and I deleted it. Some Christian actually has taken over my Instagram. He calls himself Matthew. He's a Christian, and somehow he's changed my password and the email and the phone number and so forth. So I can't really get that account back. That's my Facebook account. Also, my Instagram has also been hacked. But alhamdulillah, over the last couple of days, I've got my phone numbers back and I've got my email account back to my original state. So just want to let you know, brothers and sisters, I will be doing a particular podcast with Brother Mehdi, hopefully Sunday, on this topic of protecting your devices and how to secure your email accounts and phone numbers. So stay tuned for that. That'll be taking place on Sunday with Brother Mehdi. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, but yeah, Brother Yusuf, as you mentioned,
coming back.
They even tried to get into my bank accounts and much more. It's been about a week and a half. It's been very mentally draining for me to get my life back. The email stated that I need to stop doing these podcasts regarding the Palestinian issue. So I definitely think it's somebody bigger than just a normal hacker or like a fisher or something, as they call them. But it's been very horrendous for me for the last week and a half. Brother Yusuf, yeah, you can carry on.
I think we are getting, there was a well-known rabbi who's known to us and known to the Dawa speaking world as well. He didn't want me to mention his name, but I was in conversation with him. based in Jerusalem, and he stated that we invited him for a program on Christianity. Unfortunately, I've had many programs with him. The reason he couldn't come on is because of the fact that he's aware of our programs. Our programs are being apparently seen in Israel, and some people have access to it. And because of the fact, and he knows what's going on, that the situation has reached such a stage that if he's seen to come on the show, he will be viewed as possibly associating with somebody that is pro-Hamas, and that may possibly impact on his own security there, and vice versa, although he tried to put it in a subtle way that he didn't want to compromise us by appearing to be associating with someone that is allegedly pro-Zionist, although that was not our issue at any case. But I do believe that we are making a dent, and certainly we are impacting on individuals up there, because a lot of these stations and some of these networks and our organizations, they don't go as intensively as we've been going into these particular legal reports and so on. And not, I mean, you've got people, journalists like Owen Jones and the Electronic Intifada and, the Grey Zone, Max Blumenthal, a number of individuals that are there, but they're not traditionally channels that are so-called Dawah-related channels. My channel is not a so-called Dawah channel per se, but the Coventry Faith Foundation is, and comes from that strain of being involved in Dawah and coming from Speaker's Corner and so on. And I think yours are possibly the only one in the United Kingdom out of all the major channels. And I'm not saying this negatively to the others, but I mean EF Dawah, SE Dawah, I don't know, some of the other big channels there. Yours are probably not as large as theirs, but has been incessant in exposing this genocide for a year consistently without any kind of doubt.
I think that's a beautiful point you made there. I think that even though I'm a very small channel, and alhamdulillah with your help also, we are getting this message out. But nevertheless, I am a small channel, but I do feel we are making a small dent. And I think some organizations who don't want us to portray this message, especially on social media, they are trying their best to kind of like silence us. And like I said, YouTube is not an income for me. Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have a good job. I'm stable financially. So by disregarding my YouTube, it's not going to really hurt me as much because I have other networks or setups such as Rumble. So this is why it's very important to go to my Rumble account and subscribe to Rumble.
You know what's the important point, and I think it's important because you've got your own business and work and that you do, and I'm involved in the legal field. So the thing is that the one advantage we've got is that it'll be bad if YouTube shadow bans us or maybe deletes the channel, but we're not dependent on it as a source of our livelihood, and so we don't have as much care or concern about what YouTube states or what some individual states. Whereas some of these Dawah channels, unfortunately, and I'm talking about now particularly in the Muslim-speaking world, and particularly in the English-speaking Muslim world, like the United Kingdom, the United States, they are cautious in some of the statements that they're making. And a lot of them, in fact, just simply they are professional YouTubers. They just simply rely on YouTube, they monetize it, and it becomes a source of their income. And once YouTube becomes a source of your income, what then happens is that you are now beholden to the algorithm, because you need to now increase the number of viewers that you want to have. You don't want to be shadow banned. You want to be cautious in terms of what you are saying. So it's more comfortable for you to have a YouTube channel, which you call it a Dawah channel, again in inverted commas, and that Dawah channel spends a significant amount of time, for example, refuting not the Israeli Defense Force, but refuting your fellow Muslims, stating this Muslim is not in the right Aqidah, or he's not doing this, or somebody else is not doing this. And that gets you views, that gets you your supporters, but you don't actually deal with the core issues. And the reason for that is because you are yourself a slave to YouTube. So neither myself nor Muhammad is either a slave to YouTube. None of us are basically caught up. We're not YouTubers. We're not professional YouTubers. This is not a source of our livelihood. We use it as a channel. And unfortunately, YouTube has created this idea that, the highest number of subscriptions you have, you are 2 million or 3 million or 1.5 million, somehow or the other, you've made it. And so from an Islamic point of view, if you've got 2 million subscriptions, then your views on Islam or your comments on Islam, somehow or the other renders you an Islamic scholar in the manner of speaking. And so this, YouTube has created most of our leading Islamic scholars. We had Sheikh Shabir Ali, Imam Siraj Wahaj. They are individuals that have been in the field of dawah for decades. Imam Al-Asi has been in the field of propagation and political activism for decades. He's got political philosophy as his background, as a matter of speaking. But they're not YouTubers, and this is borne out by the fact that they don't have multiple YouTube subscribers. And in fact, all of them are not even tech savvy. If you look at both Sheikh Shabir Ali and Imam Siraj Wahaj, they're not necessarily tech savvy, but this doesn't mean that they're not legitimate source of information. I think what YouTube has done over the years is it's created this idea that the more subscriptions that you have and subscribers you have, the more valid your point of view is. And that's how we have a situation that so many points out there and views out there, which may not even be Islamically accurate or even proper or appropriate, get put out in the field as the legitimate Islamic position. And this is unfortunately what social media has done. But the scholars out there, the academics out there that have written books, that have laboriously studied and produce Islamic work and material, they don't spend their hours on YouTube making YouTube channels. They don't have the time for that, frankly speaking. I mean, sometimes it's even a mission to get them on. Myself and Brother Muhammad, we have had to reschedule. This is not the source of our livelihood. We can't just spend hours and hours like these fanatical Christian missionaries or some of these dawah YouTubers. This is all that they do in their life. So therefore, help us out there. Help share Brother Muhammad's channel. Help share my channel. We're not looking for income. We're not looking for monetary gain. We're not looking for subscription. Of course, if you can support the Coventry Faith Foundation, do so by all means. I don't have a particular account set up for the South African Debate Initiative. I haven't asked anyone for that money. We've never asked money for even Palestine, because we don't know how people are asking monies for Palestine. The monies are not being let into for Palestine. If you want to support anyone, go and support UNRWA or some of the players on the ground that are basically doing that. But I don't think Israel will in fact allow you to. So anyone out there who's even calling or asking monies for Palestine, don't give monies for Palestine, because you don't know these organizations, how they are getting that money in. It begs a question, these fundraising events that they're having. I don't know how that money goes in. Deal with legitimate organizations and entities on the ground if you want to. We don't do that. We don't ask money. All we ask you is share the content that we're giving. Because one thing we can boldly say is that the content we are producing and have produced on this platform, Brother Muhammad's channel, my channel, is irrefutable. Nobody has been able to refute it. Nobody can refute it. People have tried. Even the general usual suspects amongst Christian missionaries have tried. They can't face facts. Therefore, you can get these characters like this guy called Luqman. By the way, that's his name. His name is Luqman. I don't have his picture here. He's called clinical stenographer. His real name is Luqman, and you can see the behavior that we have. So I've spent so much of time. I just want to end with this share. I've got the screen, the Francesca's report, which I think we need to bring to its finality. It's the latter part. If we can share the screen, Mohammed. This was before we had this sideshow with Luqman, we thought it was going to go well, but as usual, it went pear-shaped. Before we go into any of that, I want to focus on the conclusion here, where Francesca details the whole principle in international of genocidal intent and how this has been rationalized on the basis of self-defense. So in item C of this report, she raises a point that the general charade that has been always put up is that the stated goals are eradicate Hamas and bring the hostages home. That's been the selected defense, and also the defense that has been put out by pundits like Piers Morgan and Fox News and some of these channels, and even to a little bit extent the BBC. They try and put out this apologetic. In this report, she states, neither of these goals, if they existed, and they don't exist, by the way, because on this channel we showed they don't exist. The aim is not to eradicate Hamas per se, or bring the hostages home. The aim is to destroy Gaza and the Palestinians. But she makes a point that even if those goals exist, none of those goals preclude a finding of genocidal intent as the only reasonable inference to be drawn. Instead, both motives, together and disjunctively, substantiate genocidal intent, which means that even if you were to make that claim, that could be means an inference, and an indirect inference could be drawn either together or separately that you are fulfilling the nature of genocidal intent. And she basically looks at a previous decision where Judge Trinidade pointed out that perpetrators of genocide will almost always allege that the actions were taken pursuant to an ongoing military conflict. Yet genocide may be a means of achieving military objectives just as readily as military conflict may be means of instigating a genocidal plan. I mean, when Nazis were committing the Holocaust, they weren't saying that, look, we are going out because we just hate Jews. Who was saying that? In fact, the Germans, majority of the Germans that were bombed by the British didn't even know what was happening in the Nazi death camps of Dachau and Auschwitz. So the point is, as the judges have pointed out, different underlying motives do not displace genocidal intent. So she's arguing that even if Israel were to make the claim, legitimately so, which we stated has not been the case, but legitimately so, that the aim is to eradicate Hamas and bring the hostages came, even from that perspective, there is no basis for their particular claim. Nothing. Genocidal intent may exist simultaneously with other ulterior motives. In international criminal jurisprudence, intent is distinguished from motive behind an action. Hatred, revenge, personal political actions, although motive is usually irrelevant in criminal law, it can reveal intent. And she goes on to state that Israel has framed its military operations in Gaza as a war of self-defense, counterterrorism against terrorism. However, it is well established that Israel cannot legitimately invoke self-defense against a population under its occupation. This is what I've been saying and what Mohammed had been saying before this report came out. So we've been vindicated by the report that has been presented by the UN General Assembly. Have we not said this, Mohammed, from day one, that you cannot invoke self-defense against a population under its occupation? The occupying power must protect, not target the occupying people. In the context of Israel ignoring the ICJ directive to end the unlawful occupation, the aim to eradicate resistance contradicts the rights to self-determination and to resist an oppressive regime protected by customary international law, which means that she's saying that Hamas has a full right to, and the Palestinian resistance has a full right to engage in active resistance. By continuing to suppress the right to self-determination, Israel is replicating historical instances in which self-defense, counterinsurgency, or counterterrorism were used to justify destruction of a group, leading to genocide. Look at this. Look at this point that she's making. What a remarkable point she's making. With the dehumanization of Palestinians at a peak, the world has become inured to the individual and collective toll of their devastation. In Gaza, Israel has targeted both military operatives and ordinary civilians, including from local governance structures. And she quotes Herzog, the president. Israel states that an entire nation is responsible. Entire population has been deemed non-innocent. So when entire population is destroyed, what does that mean? And that's spread out to the populations. That means that essentially the resulting in commensurate losses sustained by the Palestinians, viewed in the context, suggest an intent other than claimed, which means genocide. And she raises a 6-year-old Hind Rajab, 335 bullets drilled into her. Muhammad Bar, we discussed this in the one who had Down syndrome. The execution of Atta Ibrahim al-Mutakif, an older deaf man. He later, the person who killed him, later bragged about this killing to other people on social media. None of them have been charged. The Israeli leadership know about this. The premature babies, we've all forgotten about that. They died at the Al-Nasser hospital. The elderly man, Bashar Haji, he was murdered en route to southern Gaza after appearing in a safe corridor. Abu al-Ola, the handcuffed hostage, he was shot and they were not just him. There were multiple people dead with handcuffs. They were handcuffed and they were shot dead. When the dust settles in Gaza, the true extent of the horror experienced by the Palestinians will become No. The second goal, she destroys. Beautiful.
Yusuf,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, we've got Mike back here joining us now, and
Okay, bring him on.
he is on the stage now. So, Mike,
Bring him,
thank
Mike.
you for joining us. We are talking about the genocide that's being committed right now. Of course.
Sure, and I just heard the well, it was interesting. So you're saying under the UN Charter they can't claim self-defense if they're attacked
Not at all.
by force while they're occupying an area. So let's say post World War II, when America occupied Germany or Japan, if I think there was one bombing in Berlin during the American occupation, but the Germans came out and said, "Hey guys, stop that! You know, we got beat. Let's rebuild the country." But so you're saying the American occupying forces would have no rights or abilities to then try to weed out who did that attack?
The analogy is flawed. It's fundamentally flawed because Germany was on the verge of becoming an empire on its own. And so Nazi Germany was a nation that had engaged in genocide, and that's why the Genocide Convention had been set up. The Allies and the bombing and the destruction of Germany, which was a European country, inferred that there had to be some form of reconstruction. But Gaza, the analogy is fundamentally flawed is that you can't compare Gaza with Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany was going out and occupying other areas and other land. And so the US occupation of Nazi Germany was basically the end of the Second World War and the end of the Third Reich, which was an empire in itself. Gaza has never been in any kind of position of power, and Hamas has never been in any kind of position of analogous power. Hamas and the resistance that is engaged in occupied Gaza and to a limited extent in the occupied West Bank is simply a resistance, if there is a resistance, that is not on the level of asymmetrical warfare. Gaza has already been under occupation even before the invention and the creation of Hamas. One, before the 67 war, when Egypt was under Egyptian administrative control, and certainly post 67, when Israel occupied Gaza. Gaza has never been a country. So the analogy is not there. And the point is that if there's an attack on the state of Israel, the attackers can in fact invoke the principle of self-defense under Article, I think, 5 of the UN Charter, based on the fact that they were refugees that were kicked out of Israel proper. So many people make this point that when Hamas entered the southern region, that was an invasion or an occupying of another country. That's rubbish. That's false. The analogy is flawed because that was part of Greater Palestine, and the area that the Hamas fighters went to, like the Kibbutz Be'eri and so on, these were areas and land where their forefathers had been kicked out more than a generation ago. So they had just simply entered territory which in fact belonged to them. And secondly, this was not a question. Look, Israel could raise the point. Let's assume, hypothetically speaking, that Egyptian soldiers came and invaded Tel Aviv. Then Israel could invoke the principle of self-defense against the Egyptian, because then you've got symmetrical warfare. You've got one sovereign territory, Egypt, and another sovereign country, Israel. But Israel can't invoke the principle of self-defense and destroy Gaza and send it into oblivion, as it has done over the past several months, on the basis of self-defense. And even if because this is where the analogy is flawed. You see, people like Morgan and all of them, they legitimize the actions of Israel. They only question the proportionality of the actions of Israel. So they would argue at the very outset that yes, Israel has a right, although Israel cannot engage in what it is doing now because it's unproportional, but Israel does have the right to, because of the fact that it is engaging in self-defense. We are going one step further. We are saying that Israel doesn't even have that right at all, because it cannot invoke that principle of self-defense in terms of international law, because the incursion that came out and the resistance came out from a land that it was occupying illegally. So you can't raise self-defense against a land that you illegally occupy. It's very much like the apartheid South Africa. In apartheid South Africa, the ANC had a military wing called the Umkhonto weSizwe. And by the way, the Umkhonto weSizwe engaged not just in atrocities against, they engaged in atrocities like Nelson Mandela's wife, very cruel woman, very brutal woman. She killed the doctor Abu Bakr Asfat, whose son is in fact married to my first cousin, by the way. But they were engaging in atrocities of murder and so on and so forth. They engage in necklacing of their own black communities, and of course engage in physical, to a certain extent, limited military and campaign against the Israeli state. No one in the world today has called out the ANC government for the atrocities that it committed against its own people. We had the feckless treatment, the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and nobody in their right mind would call out any attack against the apartheid government. Yet, the apartheid government, when it, for example, engaged in its massacres in the township, and nowhere near the scale of what Israel is doing, because they never bombed the townships with helicopter gunships, nowhere near that. But the apartheid government used the excuse that when they were shooting these blacks in the townships, they were just simply quelling resistance and quelling an uprising and basically wanting to establish law and order. But nobody's going to grant them the right of self-defense because they had no right to self-defense. Apartheid was an illegal, immoral system. So this is a situation. I see you've got to go. Something's wrong with the dog. I hope your dog gets better. But based on that, so we're making the argument that Israel has no right to self-defense. Israel had nothing. What Israel should have done, to conclude the point, after October 7th, was that it should have disbanded the Knesset, should have basically, Netanyahu should have stood down, and they should have all gone to the polls, and they should have ended the occupation. End the occupation both on the West Bank and the Gaza. Give all the Palestinians on the Gaza and the West Bank the right to vote. If you want to do away with Gaza, fine, do away with Gaza, do away with the West Bank. Don't call them West Bank, don't call them Gaza. If you want Israelis to go there and live there, yes, by all means, let them do that. But then also then allow Palestinians to go where they want to. So the Palestinians on the Gaza Strip can now go into Tel Aviv, which was their home. They can now go into Jerusalem. They can now go all over. So it's a free-for-all. Everyone, one man, one vote, open the entire society. So that should have been something that I would have supported. And even call it Israel. Continue calling it Israel, but have one man, one vote. The Israelis wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare because they knew the outcome. And so the reality of the situation is that they don't want a democracy. They want a fascist dictatorship whereby they can permanently occupy the Palestinians, both in the West Bank, which is now no longer under military control, but is controlled by the civilian forces under fascists like Smotrich. And certainly in Gaza, they want to eradicate and destroy the whole of Gaza so they can control and take over the land and the people and so on and so forth. So that's my answer to Mike. Sorry you had to go, but that would be my answer to you. Yeah.
Brother Yusuf,
yeah.
Yeah, we have to really end the show pretty soon.
Okay.
I've got another show in 45 minutes. Can I just quickly let the people know the next show coming up? That'll be in 1 hour. Let me just see if I've got the poster here. I had it somewhere. Alarm star. I think I've lost it. I can't be lost it. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see it. Next show will be with Brother Yemeni, and it will be the poorest arguments against the Muslim creed. I'm going to do an episode with Brother Yemeni and Brother Aladdin on some of the top 5 arguments that the Christians or individuals bring against the Islamic creed. So that will be in about 1 hour's time, which will be 8 p.m. UK time. So please join in for that. It will be really excellent with Brother Yemeni. And hopefully the next show, episode 2, will be with our elder Ustad Aladdin. Brother Yusuf, you can go ahead now, inshallah. But yeah, this individual, you're muted, Brother Yusuf. You're muted.
Okay, I'm muted. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Mahmoud.
Yeah, that individual who came on, he's got the name of Luqman. Luqman is a Muslim name, I'm assuming. You know, these people are very, very dangerous. I think they can incite a lot of hatred towards Arabs or other peoples that he mentioned. I found him very vile. And also,
he's a vile character. And
I didn't know he posted pornographic material on your WhatsApp, and also regarding the image
It was a WhatsApp group. Hear this out. People note it. So it's a WhatsApp group, and I'll send you, called the Open Islamic Debate Forum, which is a subsidiary of the Open Debate Forum, South African WhatsApp forum, about 200 to 300 people. And he came on, and at the time when he came on, the admin could only kick someone out, but they couldn't remove pornographic content. You didn't have the delete for all feature at that stage. So he came at one stage and he posted explicit pornographic content just simply to get at me because he called him out on some particular issue similar to what we were dealing with here this evening. And so it appears that he hasn't changed. The guy is vile, he's repulsive, he's inherently evil, in his behavior. And as you can see, he made no argument. He made absolutely no, he knows what evil is when he saw it, when he confirms mutilation in there, but he justifies it to say, look, Israelis. So this is the type of people that we have. So for those who want to learn anything, just for this, and just if you want to, I just want to share the screen last time, Mohammed. So before I leave, I just want to share. This is a report that was published. Read this report. This is a report on your screen. It was presented before the General Assembly on the 1st of October. Download this. Francesca Albanese. Ask in the YouTube chat or in the StreamYard link, or post your email address if you want a copy of this report. Situation of the human rights in the Palestinian territory. It's a short report. By short, I mean it's only 32 pages. Francesca Albanese has been very vocal. We probably heard her. A very powerful and articulate Italian lawyer, international human rights lawyer as well. And she did this phenomenal report. My urge to all the brothers out there, especially those who are active at Speaker's Corner, I don't see this. I see Christian missionaries and Christian YouTube channels going out there and coming with facts and information and material and giving it out and discussing. Brothers, do yourself a favor. This is only 32 pages. Go out there. If you can't argue, you cannot debate, cannot articulate conversation, just take a ladder and read out this report. Read out this report or read out particular passages about this particular report so that people know what is going on, so that you can share the information, so that people are educated, so that in terms of debate, this is your information of letting the world know. We've destroyed Israel. We've destroyed every credibility that Israel may have had on this channel beyond any doubt. We've shown genocide is there beyond doubt, but we've destroyed Israel. We've destroyed every Israeli apologist that has ever dared to come on this particular platform. I've sent out a challenge to this character because I was reached out a few days ago by an American YouTube channel called Modern Day Debate. Modern Day Debate, it's a well-known YouTube channel that just simply hosts debate. And there was a discussion whether I'd be interested in willing to debate this lunatic psychopath by the name of Musab Yusuf, otherwise known as Son of Hamas. So I'm more than willing to take this character on and expose him for the intellectual fraud that he is. We wait, pray, and make dua that that debate does happen. He's been kicked out of Oxford University at Oxford Union. Our debaters, he was up against Miko Peled, phenomenal Israeli. His father was in the 6-day war, but now a phenomenal pro-Palestinian activist. We want to give voices to him, trying to reach out to him to have him on this channel again. Like to have Norman Finkelstein back again this year, inshallah, in 2025. So we will continue this consistently. We will now be expanding and having other shows. I hope to have Dr. Shabir Ali back, where we can focus more on some of the traditional comparative religion analyses that I used to be engaged with quite regularly. I am doing it on other channels, but haven't been on this particular channel. We may possibly have a couple of debates on the Bible, on religion, on other issues, although we saw this as something which is more topical, and so I focused a significant amount of my year, at least in 2024, on the Palestinian crisis and the Israeli genocide and the resistance which we support to the hilt. We support to the hilt in this forum and others. And for those of you out there who can't do anything but abuse us and abuse Brother Muhammad's channel, I think it's quite clear that it's only because of the fact that you've got nothing else to say and nothing to do, and you've got no argument. You've got no argument. You can't respond. You can't intellectually engage us. You have no ability to intellectually engage. So what you do? You abuse us. Why would you abuse us? We haven't abused you. Why would you abuse us? So I think it's important. I do understand the point you made, Mohammed, about cutting people off, but I want people to see the dirt and the scum that we are dealing with, these Zionist scum that are coming on and finding all forms of justification for the satanic state. It just shows us who's on the right and who's on the wrong. So hope people learn from the stream, get the information out there, use it, share it with others, use Francesca's report, use the Amnesty International report. The Amnesty International report is even much more larger. This report here, you feel like you are subhuman. Israel's genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, Amnesty International. Type it on YouTube. Type it on YouTube. You'll get the entire 300-page report, which shows beyond doubt that there's ethnic cleansing. Get the Human Rights Watch report, which we discussed some months back, that deals with the aspect of ethnic cleansing, separate legal issues there. And share this information, share it, expose it, until we bury Israel in the dustbin of history intellectually, and that in years to come, these streams and the information that we shared in the streams can be documented and put forth there and shared with as many people as possible. So I'll leave it at that, Brother Muhammad.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank the small little donations that people made. Unfortunately, my bank has still has frozen. I've not accessed any of my funds for about a week and a half. It's been very mentally draining for me to get my life back on track after my emails, my phone numbers, and my other social media devices or apps were hacked. And I myself and Brother Yusuf are committed to fighting for the people of Palestine and continuing to raise awareness for the people of Palestine, even if it comes to our other social media apps being banned or removed. We just move onto a different platform. So brothers and sisters, please continue to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and of course Brother Yusuf's channel, the South African Debate Initiative. I think we are the only Dawah channels who are willing to put our faces on the screen, our voices to be heard, and still be threatened with individuals or other means via hacking and trying to defame us. I really appreciate everybody's support. I'd like to thank Brother Yusuf for his support. But just a quick reminder, the next show will be in about 45 minutes. This is the show with Brother Yemeni. Please stay tuned for it, and we'll be hitting some of these arguments. So please, brothers and sisters, if you are able to share these channels on your social media, please do. A lot of people have come to me and said to me that we don't get notifications. It's because YouTube has shadow banned my channel big time. So brothers and sisters, we're not going to stop. We're going to completely go full steam ahead and highlight the plights of our brothers and sisters around the world, of the oppressed. So Jazakumullah khair to everybody. Thank you to everybody for your support over the years, for helping CovFF become a pretty good channel when it comes to giving content. And of course, Brother Yusuf Ismail, my co-host, Jazakallah khair, brother, for joining me. You're most welcome to either come on to the later show, which will be in about 40 minutes. If you want to take part in that, you are most welcome to, take part of that, in that too. Brother Yusuf, you are a much better speaker than I am. The only thing I'm good at is just hosting and trying to keep calm in very hostile situations.
You're doing a fine job, Brother Muhammad. You're doing a fantastic, phenomenal job, and I really appreciate you.
No, alhamdulillah, I learned a lot from you. Jazakallah khair, Brother Yusuf. I know you've taken out a lot of time. I know we've replanned this show on numerous of occasions. It's because myself and Brother Yusuf, we have other responsibilities, and juggling everything can be quite difficult. So I do apologize, brothers and sisters. One sincere request, and this is my final request to everybody: please keep us in your prayers. Keep us in your du'as, that we continue to make this channel and our channels grow and be able to go to a bigger audience. So, Brother Yusuf, last words to you. And then we can end the show.
And certainly, pray that Allah blesses both our channels, both yours, mine. Let's share the message, share the word. And until next time, we wish everybody, even our enemies there, we always do that. We wish them greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And certainly, I just want to end with a Quranic verse which says, and I think you've epitomized it in detail, which says, وَقُلْ جَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَاقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ زَهُوقًا. That when truth hurls itself against falsehood, falsehood perishes. For falsehood is by its means and its very nature bound to perish. And that's what we will be doing. And that's what we will be seeing with the perishing of the Israeli state, with the perishing and destruction of false belief systems. That's what we're going to do. Both the Coventry Faith Foundation, the South African Debate Initiative, we're going to be continuing it for 2025. So join us. We look forward to an exciting year where we're probably going to have some exciting programs in store. And certainly share, click on the like button on both our channels so we can get as many viewers as possible to come on board. And we can hopefully give you some of the best content out there and engage with some of the leading thinkers and people in the world out there. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.